Chapter 423. Lu Chen looked at the people from the Wood Manor in surprise. They actually recognized the reverse water scale rune sword. After all, he had never shown this sword to anyone before. Even Green Wolf might not be able to recognize this sword. This Wood Manor was not simple. Fortunately, these people from the Wood Manor could be counted as his friends. Lu Chen gathered his thoughts and looked at Green Wolf again. How strong would an expert from the third heavenly realm be? There were no rules when it came to fighting in the wild. The hostility between the two sides was already at its peak. There was no turning back. The battle was about to begin. From Green Wolf's previous moves, he should be a sword spirit of the sword spirit class. Thus, close combat was the best choice. 7 stars chasing the moon. Lu Chen made the first move. Green Wolf's eyes glowed with a strange red light. Using such a low-level movement technique? 3 clear swords, chasing shadow. Among the 3 flying swords, the green longsword shot out. This sword was extremely fast. It was similar to the special effect of Prometha, leaping forward. It was difficult to catch its trajectory. Chasing shadow instantly caught up to Lu Chen, who was in the state of 7 stars chasing the moon, and stabbed at Lu Chen. Damn, it can even attack with a displacement technique? This is too terrifying. It's too fast. I can't see it clearly. Xiao Tian looked at the passerby who spoke. He did not expect this person's unintentional lament to point out the crux of the problem. He said to his companions, the terrifying thing about chasing shadow is that its speed surpasses the reaction time of people. Ba Men nodded. 7 stars chasing the moon is a high-speed movement technique. Even the user would find it difficult to make multiple changes in the middle because it's too fast. And chasing shadow's attack in such a fast environment completely messes up the rhythm of the technique. It's almost impossible to dodge. One Air looked at the battlefield seriously. Is this the power of a third heaven? Displacement is not absolutely safe. Lu Chen had already discovered that chasing shadow was trying to attack him. Although it was commonly believed that sword spirits were afraid of close combat, if they could attack the enemy while they were moving, then the so-called weakness of sword spirits was no longer a weakness. Not bad. Lu Chen's mind spun rapidly. Triple door. He directly teleported behind Green Wolf through one of the doors. Fierce tiger descends the mountain. Lu Chen seized the opportunity and stabbed down with his sword. As long as it hit, it would be a terrifying 10 consecutive hits, which was equivalent to 30 consecutive hits. The reverse water scale rune sword transformed into a black shadow and mercilessly fell. But this time, the attack that was sure to hit had missed. The Green Wolf seemed to have seen through Lu Chen's movements. It instantly shifted and dodged Lu Chen's attack. There was only a fraction of a second to react, but Green Wolf was able to easily dodge it. What was even stranger was that Lu Chen suddenly felt as if his feet had sunk into a swamp, and his movement speed dropped to an unimaginable level. Debuff: movement skills are silenced for 2 seconds. A trap. Lu Chen was also shocked. This Green Wolf had purposely given him a chance to get close. Although the silence trap only had a duration of 2 seconds, and it only silenced movement-type skills, it was enough for Shadow Pursuit to reach Lu Chen within this short 1 second. Wishful Doppelganger. In the nick of time, Lu Chen used his weakest doppelganger skill and used the 0.2 seconds of invincibility to dodge the attack. Shadow Pursuit missed and quickly turned around to stab at him again. The strongest bow. Flash shot. In the midst of the battle, Lu Chen retrieved the Abyssal Dragon Crystal Bow. In the blink of an eye, 3 black crystal arrows shot through the air and hit Shadow Pursuit. Shadow Pursuit was clearly of a higher level than the Abyssal Dragon Crystal Bow, so the strongest bow couldn't shatter Shadow Pursuit nor could it interrupt the enemy's skill. However, the powerful force still changed the direction of Shadow Pursuit's attack. The doppelganger and the strongest bow held off Lu Chen for 2 seconds. As soon as the debuff disappeared, Lu Chen quickly escaped from the trap. Just then, Shadow Pursuit returned behind Green Wolf and hovered in the air with the other two swords. In just a few short seconds, the two powerhouses had already exchanged several rounds of blows. Neither of them had taken any damage, but the danger involved was enough to make one shudder. Green Wolf broke through Lu Chen's 7 stars chasing the moon and triple gate, while Lu Chen broke through Green Wolf's trap and Shadow Pursuit. Although neither of them used their full strength in the beginning, there was still a difference between them. Green Wolf continued to stroll leisurely with his hands behind his back. He stood there leisurely and calmly watched Lu Chen. On the other hand, Lu Chen had already gone through an intense exercise. Not only did his attacks fail, but he also almost got hit. Clearly, Nameless was at a disadvantage. Green Wolf wasn't in a hurry to attack. He looked at Lu Chen with interest and pursed his lips. "Do you really think you can touch me? Why did you stop? Come on, get closer." Lu Chen scoffed coldly. "Do you want to die that badly? Don't worry, you'll get what you want very soon." This round of probing and exchanging blows had already dazzled everyone who was watching. "He's so fast that I can't even see him clearly. This kind of strength is just too terrifying." It is indeed terrifying. The two of them have attacked and defended several times. This kind of battle is simply pushing their physical body and intelligence to the limit. Heavens, I always thought that after 2 months of training, I was getting closer to Nameless Bro. Now it seems. Nameless Bro is already unbelievably strong. Stop arguing. Currently, Nameless Bro seems to be at a disadvantage. Nameless Bro, you must do your best. That guy seems like he's just playing around. He's only used 2 of his 3 swords so far. One is extremely fast, and the other can transform into a rain of swords. Moreover, he only showed his face and didn't really use any strength. What kind of effect does his last sword have? Jiu nervously grabbed Wan Er's hand. She suddenly thought of something and turned to look at Xiao Tian. "Big brother, what level is the Sanqing sword technique?" Xiao Tian slightly narrowed his eyes. He was considered a top student in his family's theoretical studies, so he knew the origins of many techniques and equipment by heart. "If I remember correctly, the Sanqing sword technique should be a heaven-level technique. Among the low-level techniques, the Sanqing sword technique is definitely the top." Xiao Tian looked at Lu Chen worriedly. "I remember there's a saying that describes the Sanqing sword technique. When the Sanqing sword technique appears, the 3 realms will not be at peace." Although this description is not from the technique and cannot be fully believed, the fact that this saying has been passed down shows the strength of the Sanqing sword technique. "Ah. Then Nameless Bro has no hope." Xiao Tian didn't give a direct answer. No matter how strong the Sanqing sword technique is in the 3rd heaven, you have to know that this is the 2nd heaven. Heaven-level techniques shouldn't appear here. Green Wolf was able to survive in the 3rd heaven, which means that his own strength is also tyrannical. Nameless Bro wants to win, unless what? Unless he uses his heaven-level technique. The heaven-level technique sealed by the Heart Refinement Courtyard. In the arena, the 2 experts had finished probing each other. It seemed that both sides were going to fight for real. Green Wolf smiled lazily. "I like arrogant people like you. It's more interesting to kill people like this. Nameless Bro, didn't you defeat the Tiger Dragon?" TSK, I didn't expect that such a genius would be crippled by my own hands. Just thinking about it makes me excited." Genius? A genius who falls back to 1st heaven is no longer a genius. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. This guy already knew that he had a heaven-level technique, but he was still so fearless. His strength was probably not weak. After speaking, Green Wolf moved his sword finger and the 2 swords behind him flew in front of him. "Hurry up and take out your heaven-level technique. Otherwise, you will die miserably." Green Wolf's eyes were wide open with a complicated gaze. Fanaticism, jealousy, bloodthirst, excitement, I will let you understand that my Sanqing sword technique is far more powerful than the 3 heaven-level techniques sealed by the heart refinement courtyard. Lu Qin snorted coldly. Green Wolf still hadn't used his 3rd sword. He was still preserving his strength. He was still preserving his strength against his heaven-level technique. This guy was quite confident. Unfortunately, no one knew what Lu Chen's heaven-level technique was. You want to see my heaven-level technique? Sorry, I might not be able to fulfill your last wish. Lu Chen smiled. Then, he retracted his smile and his gaze turned cold. Last wish? Arrogant. Green Wolf moved his sword finger and both swords simultaneously. Sanqing sword technique, chasing shadow sand. Chapter 424. 2 Sanqing swords, 1 green and 1 white, merged into one, and then one into 10,000. Countless thin swords, which were almost invisible, shot toward Lu Chen at the same time with the speed of shadow pursuit. Seeing this, Lu Chen wanted to take a deep breath. What the fuck? This was an attack with no blind spots. It was almost equivalent to a full-range attack. The Earth players were completely dumbfounded. This is too shameless. How can he dodge this? There's no way out. There's a trap in close range, and he'll be attacked if he keeps his distance. How can Brother Nameless win? Is the triple door useful? Use the triple door to escape. It's useless. Shadow Pursuit has a tracking effect. It'll catch up very quickly. It's over. Brother Nameless can't hold on any longer. The Wood Mansion players naturally had different perspectives from the Earth players. Seeing the rain of swords, they thought about how they would deal with it if they encountered this move. Could they think of a way to deal with it in just 1 or 2 seconds? This one Shadow Pursuit is already very difficult to deal with. With so many of them. I can't deal with it. This guy isn't even using a heaven-level technique. He's too arrogant. At this moment, on the battlefield, Lu Chen moved. Rapid attack. Strongest bow. With the strongest bow and the previous flash shot activated at the same time, Lu Chen's attack speed increased dramatically. He shot 4 to 5 arrows in a second. The arrows lined up in a row and rushed toward the sword formation. Last time, the strongest bow didn't destroy Shadow Pursuit. It only slightly changed the direction of Shadow Pursuit. This time, however, the black crystal arrow directly plunged into the sword formation and tore open a gap. Rapid movement. Rapid movement. Dark Night Flash. Using the remaining low-level movement skills, Lu Chen chased after his black crystal arrow and arrived in front of Green Wolf in an instant. This. How can this be? The strongest bow broke the shadow-chasing sand. Xiao Tian suddenly widened his eyes. I understand now. The strongest bow can't break Shadow Pursuit, but that doesn't mean it can't break Shadow Pursuit. After a lot of differentiation, the localized attack power of this shadow-chasing sandstorm isn't very high. This is equivalent to a heaven-grade cultivation technique being weakened to a lower-grade cultivation technique. This way, the strongest bow can be used. This guy's reasoning ability and reflexes are so strong. If Lu Chen had used some new move, perhaps Xiao Tian would not have been so surprised. However, he had used the same move that he had used before. Previously, Xiao Tian could not think of a way to counter it, but Nameless could. This was the difference in combat ability. Green Wolf was shocked as well. He had expected Nameless to use the triple door to escape, but he did not expect her to come straight at him. The basic quality of an expert was to predict the enemy's movements, while a top-notch expert was to figure out the opponent's mentality. Nameless had managed to achieve the unexpected. Raging Flame Slash. Lu Chen immediately launched an attack. A zigzag sword chi shot out towards Green Wolf. Green Wolf narrowed his eyes slightly. He, who had been through hundreds of battles, had actually been tricked by a brat at the second celestial layer. He had even broken through his shadow chasing wild sand. It was simply a disgrace. Close combat. Sorry, close combat means you're courting death. Sanqing sword technique, myriad sword shield. Countless thin swords rapidly changed directions and spun around Green Wolf like a sword formation, forming an impenetrable barrier. With a loud bang, the raging flame sword's attack directly hit the myriad sword shield. The myriad sword shield violently distorted, but it still absorbed the attack's energy. Tens of thousands of thin needle-shaped swords suddenly shot out at an even faster speed than before. Lu Chen was secretly shocked. Not only did the myriad sword shield block the attack, it also absorbed the damage from his skill and used it to strengthen its own attack. Damn, the Sanqing sword technique is really troublesome. Its attack was strong, and its defense was also so strong. It really had both offense and defense. Only when this myriad sword formation is in attack mode will I have a chance to attack him. Lu Chen's mind raced as he tried to think of a countermeasure. The myriad sword shield's defense turned into offense, causing Lu Chen and Green Wolf to switch positions. Lu Chen was instantly faced with a fatal situation. Triple door. Earth-splitting chasm. Lu Chen turned towards the second door and used this low-level skill that he was best at. Using the triple door to attack. Do you think I'm stupid? Green Wolf snorted. Trash is trash. You can't even touch me. In front of me, you can't defy the heavens. The triple door is your only life-saving skill. 3 chances, let's see how many times you can use it. You really think you can break my Sanqing sword technique? Very well, I'll let you see the true power of my Sanqing sword technique, Clear Jade Sword. Xiao Tian exclaimed in a low voice. Not good, the Sanqing sword technique's 3 swords represent the 3 great realms of Taoism, Clear Jade, and Clear Jade. The previous ones were all small skirmishes. This is the real killer move. At this moment, Lu Chen's earth-splitting chasm had already teleported behind Green Wolf from the second triple door. However, Green Wolf had already seen through Lu Chen's plan. He quickly dodged and prepared to make a hand seal, preparing to launch his killer move. Sanqing sword technique, Clear Jade Realm. Green Wolf had already launched his attack, but at this moment, the earth-splitting chasm mysteriously appeared from the other side. Lu Chen had already replaced the wishful staff with the reverse water scale sword. So, this time, it was not the staff that had enlarged, but the black long sword. With a loud bang, a damage value floated above Green Wolf's head. Minus 70,000, sword spirit cancels out 70,000, debuff, stun for 1 second, resist for 2 seconds. The damage was pitifully low. Firstly, Lu Chen did not use any amplification skills. Secondly, Green Wolf's sword spirit was also very strong, reducing half of the damage. Green Wolf had 5,800,000 health points, and his health points had only dropped a little. However, this move still shocked everyone. It hit. How did it hit? That guy clearly dodged the earth-splitting chasm. Big brother, do you understand? Chi asked anxiously. He wanted to know the answer too much. As a newcomer to the Wood Mansion, although he was not very strong, he had seen the experts of his family fight before. Sometimes, he might not be able to react the same way as those geniuses, but at least he could understand the principles behind it after seeing it. But this time, he could not understand it at all. Why was Green Wolf still hit when he knew that Nameless was going to use the triple door to teleport to the earth-splitting chasm? How did the earth-splitting chasm change its position twice? This time, Xiao Tian was also stunned. He also could not figure out the reason. However, Jiu who had been staring at the battlefield, said, I understand now. Look at his triple door. All 3 doors are closed. Everyone looked at Nameless. Indeed, all 3 doors were closed. However, he had only used the triple door twice. Jill turned to look at her companions. Just now, when he used the triple door for the second time, he teleported the third door together. The moment the earth-splitting chasm landed, he teleported from the third triple door again and hit Green Wolf. If we could understand it, then Green Wolf would definitely be able to react. It's because we can't understand it that Green Wolf has hope of being hit. Nameless, that guy, is so scary. Hearing Jill's explanation, the four people from the Wood Mansion were so shocked that their mouths were wide open. My God. This lunatic. Is he even human? Chapter 425. Earth Chasm's damage was lower than Lu Chen had expected, but Lu Chen did not count on that bit of damage. What he wanted was the stun effect. As long as he could stun Green Wolf, it would be his time. For this, he did not hesitate to use up all 3 chances of the triple door. After a second of stun, shadow-chasing sand also lost control and posed no threat to Lu Chen. At this moment, it was time for Lu Chen to counterattack. Demon King's Will, refresh. Shadow of the Night. Lu Chen did not even have time to split up. He directly used the skill to refresh himself and appeared in front of Green Wolf. Tiger descends the mountain. Green Wolf's 5,600,000 HP was quite terrifying. However, considering that he was at least level 120, or even level 140, which was much higher than Lu Chen, and his Tier 3 equipment must be very overpowered. If Lu Chen went to Tier 3, his HP would definitely be much higher than this. However, for now, 5,600,000 HP was still not enough to fill the gaps between Lu Chen's teeth. Tiger Descends the Mountain's 10-hit combo, plus 20 poison damage, could definitely kill this person. However, just as Lu Chen's sword was about to land, a green light suddenly erupted from Green Wolf's body. Immediately after, the illusion of a Taoist holding a horsetail whisk appeared and sent Lu Chen flying. Lu Chen flew backward. He spread his wings and flapped them with all his might to stabilize himself. Before Lu Chen could figure out what was going on, the third sword on Green Wolf's back floated up on its own and hovered in front of Green Wolf. At this moment, Green Wolf was clearly still in a stunned state and could not use this sword, but that sword actually activated a skill on its own. Lu Chen frowned and watched as Green Wolf's stun ended. After Green Wolf woke up, he was extremely angry. He was actually stunned by a Tier 2 brat and was almost heavily injured. To him, this was an unforgivable thing. Brat, you dare to hurt me? I'll skin you alive. Very good, you actually forced me to use the third sword. I admit that you have some strength, but the more you do, the more I can't let you live. Swords, come. Zhu Ying and Kuang Sha returned in front of Green Wolf. 3 swords hung in the air. Green Wolf was about to use his killing move. Sanqing Sword Art, 3 absolutes combine. With a boom, an explosion instantly engulfed the entire area. The entire world suddenly came to a standstill. There was no wind in the surroundings. The clouds in the sky seemed to be stuck to the ground, not moving at all. The grass on the ground maintained various tilted angles, which had been blown down by the strong wind from the battle between the two of them. At this moment, it was fixed at an unnatural angle. Most importantly, Lu Chen found himself unable to move. He couldn't use his physical body, nor could he use his spiritual power. This is a high-level array. Xiao Tian looked at the battlefield in horror. Big brother, this is an illusion-type array, right? Otherwise, it is impossible for such a heaven-defying array to appear in the third heavenly layer. Xiao Tian frowned. They could see very clearly from outside the battlefield. If it was only an illusion created by the people in the array, they should be able to tell. However, as outsiders, they could clearly see that everything in the array was fixed. It's not an illusion-type array. This shouldn't be a high-level array. Not to mention the third heavenly layer, even the fourth heavenly layer shouldn't have such a terrifying array that can lock time and space. Xiao Tian finally calmed down. Logic told him that this wasn't the terrifying array he thought it was. Jiu stared at the battlefield and said, Green Wolf's Sanqing sword art is different from ordinary Sanqing sword arts. The most terrifying part of his Sanqing sword art should be that it matches those three swords. Have you all forgotten that the third heavenly layer has already dropped cultivation technique exclusive weapons? After all, the Sanqing sword art was only a set of cultivation techniques. The same cultivation technique should have the same effect. However, the Sanqing sword art had a special point. The Sanqing sword art corresponded to the Jade Clear, Prime Clear, and Grand Clear despairs. Actually, it wasn't just that. The Sanqing sword art also corresponded to 3 exclusive weapons. The Sanqing sword art has its own corresponding exclusive weapons. When using the exclusive weapons to activate the cultivation technique, there will be a special effect. Shadow Pursuit and Wild Sand are relatively common dazzling weapons. It's not too difficult to get them. However, the hardest part of the Sanqing sword art to obtain is the Daoist heart that corresponds to Grand Clear. Xiao Tian said strangely, I don't remember the Daoist heart being mentioned in the family's weapon manual. Jiu replied faintly, the weapon manual didn't mention it because it's not in the weapon manual. It's in the Immortal Weapon Manual. Back then, I peeked at the Immortal Weapon Manual. I remember there was a record of the Daoist heart. It's a white immortal weapon in the third heavenly layer. Although Xiao Tian was a top student, Jiu was entrusted with the important task of becoming the successor of the Wood Residence's treasure. This meant that she was even more of a top student than Xiao Tian. In fact, Jiu didn't rely on hard work, but talent. She could remember the Immortal Weapon Manual after just one glance. This wasn't something that could be done with hard work. If I'm not wrong, this is the special effect of the Sanqing sword art when using the exclusive weapons. Only then did the Wood Residence members understand the whole story. That sword is actually an immortal weapon. No wonder Green Wolf wasn't willing to use it in the beginning. Not only is it an immortal weapon, but it's even paired with an exclusive cultivation technique. This Green Wolf is too strong. Green Wolf's strength has already exceeded our expectations. Nameless is probably in trouble now. After Jiu explained the special effect of the 3 ultimate fusion, she kept staring at the battlefield. Nameless, this is an unsolvable situation. Please, hurry up and use your heaven tier cultivation technique. Otherwise, we won't have a chance. Lu Chen had never encountered such a situation before. There was a debuff on him. 3 ultimate lock, physical lock, the physical body cannot be moved. Spiritual core lock, the spiritual core cannot be used. Spiritual core lock, the spiritual energy cannot be transferred. The difference between the spiritual core lock and the spiritual core lock was that the spiritual core lock locked Lu Chen's spiritual core, while the spiritual core lock locked the spiritual energy. In other words, even if Lu Chen had prepared any talismans or tools in advance, they couldn't be used. The current Lu Chen really couldn't move at all. Green Wolf wasn't in a hurry to attack. He looked at Lu Chen, who couldn't break free, and revealed a cruel and arrogant smile. I've said it before. In front of me, you can't defy the heavens. Now do you understand? There's a difference of 1 heaven between us. You want to kill me? You won't be able to in this lifetime. Green Wolf brushed the dust off his body and tidied his clothes. This was caused by the earth-splitting chasm just now. To be able to meet me, you have no regrets in this life. In return, I'll let you experience what true death is. Green Wolf moved his sword finger. Brutal Demon Lord, Pain Awakening, 200%. A status appeared on Green Wolf's body. The pain he felt increased by 200%, reaching 3 times the normal value. It turned out that the prerequisite for Green Wolf to be able to adjust the pain ratio was that he had to endure the same pain. However, he seemed to be very confident that only he could hurt others, and no one could hurt him. Next, it seems like it's time for me to slaughter a pig. Your friend was quite unyielding just now. Now, let's see if your bones are tough enough. Green Wolf smiled. 3 pure sword art, 1 becomes 10,000. Chapter 426. Countless flying swords as thin as silver needles swept across Lu Chen's body. Countless holes appeared on his body as he bled profusely. -474, -491, -428. Lu Chen had not seen 3-digit damage in a long time. However, when these negligible damages were stacked on top of each other, the damage could only be described as terrifying. Lu Chen's HP bar instantly dropped to red blood. Li Muhua looked at this scene angrily. No one knew better than him the unbearable pain of being amplified by pain perception. To be honest, if not for the fact that there were so many people watching, Li Muhua would definitely not be able to hold himself back as a soldier of Huaxia. At this moment, the pain that Lu Chen was experiencing was even more intense than before. Threefold pain perception. Even he did not dare to imagine that kind of pain. Damn it, that pervert. Why does he take pleasure in torturing and killing? Why is his mind so perverted? Nameless. Lu Chen gritted his teeth and held on. Although he was not a soldier, he had grown up in adversity. This gave him a tenacity and endurance that ordinary people could not compare to. Damn it, what kind of abnormal state was this? Was he going to stand there and let him hit him like a wooden stake? This skill was too perverted. What kind of existence was a level 3 celestial stage? How could he have such a skill that made him feel helpless? Ha 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 ha, I like your current expression. Green Wolf suddenly laughed. You're so angry that you're gnashing your teeth, yet you can't do anything to me. Are you unwilling to accept this? In the face of absolute strength, anger is useless. You want to protect those useless people, right? Don't you know that in front of me, you're just a useless person? What will you use to protect them? Your life. Unfortunately, your life doesn't belong to you. Your life is in my hands. What heart-refining courtyard's strongest person? In front of me, you're worse than dog shit. I let you use your heaven-level technique just now. Great, now you won't even have the chance to use it in the future. At this moment, outside the formation, someone suddenly shouted, Nameless. Use your heaven-level technique. Lu Chen looked outside the formation. The person who shouted at him was Jiu, heir of the Wood Residence. His last sword is an immortal weapon. His 3 absolutes as 1 is a special effect of the 3 exclusive cultivation techniques and weapons. It's not really unsolvable. If your physical attacks break through the upper limit of his seal, the 3-terminal formation will be broken. Jiu had already thrown caution to the wind. Before this, Green Wolf wasn't sure if she was the last hidden member of the Woodwood Mansion team or the one with the most precious treasure. But now, Green Wolf was sure that Jiu was the person he was looking for. It was impossible for the players from Earth to know about exclusive skill manuals and weapons. Only the people from the Wood Mansion would know about them. However, this girl was not one of the 4 people who stopped Hunter Emperor. The result was self-evident. Green Wolf laughed instead of getting angry. Ha ha ha, this woman is crazy. Do you think my 3 absolute lock is so easy to break? I'm not afraid to tell you that you can't break the 3 absolute lock. Your physical attack can exceed 810,000. Even I can't break it, but you can. Alright, now that I've told you the upper limit of the 3-terminal formation, why don't you break it for me to see? My 3-death lock is unstoppable in the 3rd heaven. You want to break it? Ha ha ha, naive. Hearing Green Wolf's words, everyone felt a chill in their hearts. Green Wolf directly stated the upper limit of the 3 absolute lock. This was obviously a stupid action in a big battle. However, when he said 810,000 physical attack, everyone didn't feel any hope. Instead, they felt even more despair. 810,000 physical attack. How could it be 810,000 physical attack? Even Green Wolf's physical attack wasn't that high. Without a doubt, no one in the third heaven could break it. I've searched high and low for it, only to find it by chance. The last person from the Woodwood Mansion jumped out on her own. Looks like I've gained a lot this time. Not only did I get a rare battle pet, but I also got the family treasure of the Woodwood Mansion. TSK 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 TSK. Speaking of which, I really don't understand. Is there no one else in the Woodwood Mansion? Why would they give the treasure to such a brainless woman? Since you've come out, then don't run. With that, Green Wolf's sword finger suddenly changed. Countless sword needles shot towards Xiao. Xiao Tian and the others were shocked and rushed towards Xiao. However, just because Lu Chen could avoid the shadow-chasing sand didn't mean that the others could. 3 Purities Sword Technique. Every time I use a sword, my attack and speed will increase by 100%. Do you really think you can save her? What idiots. Green Wolf sneered. Seeing that the sword needles were about to pierce Xiao Tian was furious. He shouted, Woodwood Mansion's secret technique, sacrifice. In an instant, Xiao Tian and Xiao switched places. In the next second, countless flying needles pierced through Xiao Tian's body. This attack was different from the one he used on Lu Chen. Although Green Wolf dared to steal from the Woodwood Mansion, he didn't dare to kill the people from the Woodwood Mansion. Stealing from the Woodwood Mansion was a sign of strength. This meant that the newcomers couldn't do it themselves. However, killing them would offend the Woodwood Mansion. That was something that the Woodwood Mansion wouldn't tolerate. Therefore, he only had one goal in using the shadow-chasing sand, and that was to kill Xiao. Unfortunately, Green Wolf had forgotten to turn off the tyrant mode. Even someone as strong as Xiao Tian couldn't help but let out a heart-wrenching howl. Ah! Big brother! The eyes of the 4 people from the Woodwood Mansion turned blood red. To them, Xiao Tian was their big brother. He was their team leader and also their older brother. Normally, Xiao Tian would be the one to scout the area and come back to plan the trip. When they encountered danger, it was Xiao Tian who led the way. He had always been protecting his brothers and sisters. He also doted on these willful brothers and sisters. Xiao said that she had to help Nameless. Although he didn't agree, he still compromised in the end. When Xiao was in danger, he didn't hesitate to exchange his life for Xiao's, even if he knew what was about to happen. In the Woodwood Mansion team, Ba Men, Chi Chi, Wan and Xiao all respected this older brother. At this moment, when they saw Xiao Tian's tragic sacrifice, how could they not be moved? Green Wolf frowned. The Woodwood Mansion actually has this kind of secret technique. Che, but what's the point of doing this? That woman will still die in my hands and you won't be able to protect the treasure. Sigh, what a stupid and boring death. This kind of idiot can be the team leader. What trash. Big brother. Green Wolf, you bastard, I'll kill you. Ba Men shouted as he pounced at Green Wolf. If you want to kill me, you're far from enough. Green Wolf's target was only Xiao. His finger turned again and the shadow-chasing sand shot towards Xiao. Leave the treasure first, then I'll kill you all one by one. At this moment, Green Wolf suddenly turned around and looked behind him in shock. Because of this accident, Xiao dodged the shadow-chasing sand. Impossible. This is impossible. Green Wolf's eyes were round and full of fear and shock. Impossible, my 3 absolute lock. You can't. Your attack power. Impossible. Within the 3 absolute lock, the man covered in blood had his head lowered. His expression couldn't be seen. However, his body was undergoing some kind of change. The space around him was actually trembling. It was like a wild beast that had been chained up and was trying to break free from its shackles. Green Dog, I've never wanted to kill like today. His voice seemed to come from his throat. Your 3 absolute lock can't be broken by anyone. Very good. Green light uncontrollably emitted from his eyes. It was like 2 ghostly flames, causing one to be terrified. War God possession. Demon transformation. Raising his head, Lu Chen stared at Green Wolf. You want to see my heaven-grade cultivation technique? Fine, I'll fulfill your wish. Today, I'll let you know what a demon is. Demon transformation. Chapter 427. The 3 transformations of gods and demons had very clear requirements. The 3 transformations of demons required one to enter a demon form from a non-human form. All the players, green wolves, and even the hunter emperor were attracted by the performance of the person in the 3 death formation. His skin was cracking bit by bit. The dark green light in his eyes could no longer be restrained by the human skin and crazily overflowed. Oh my God, what happened to Brother Nameless? This is demon transformation? No, it's definitely not. I'm too familiar with the process of demon transformation. This is definitely not demon transformation. Although demon transformation was still demon transformation, the degree of change wasn't too big. At least after the transformation, they could still see that it was Brother Nameless. But this time, it was obviously not that simple. Finally, like a cicada breaking out of its cocoon, the man's clothes and skin all exploded. A terrifying demon gradually stretched its majestic body. Its face was ferocious, and its eyes were burning with green flames. Its muscular and well-proportioned body was 3 to 4 meters tall, and its green skin was covered with curses as if it was a cursed creature. The 2 thick demon horns on its head bent backward, and the pair of wings on its back opened uncontrollably due to the surge of power. Seeing this demon, the players on Earth were extremely shocked. Although the players on Earth were relatively quiet, there was no doubt that everyone's hearts were exploding. It's him. No, impossible. How is this possible? Oh my God, why is it like this? I'm a bit confused. In other words, he is him. Oh my God, he is him. Damn, my world is collapsing. The 2 great legends of Jyotian actually overlapped. How is it possible that God of War and Mad Demon, countless people's minds short-circuited? All kinds of scenes in the past that shouldn't have overlapped were forcefully superimposed on one person at this moment. The first mysterious person in Jyotian to pass through the poison fog forest and sell equipment in large quantities. The God of War who fought against the attacks of multiple countries by himself. The only player who had a personal dungeon. The demon who massacred cities many times. The mysterious leader who formed the strongest guild at the moment. The super expert who single-handedly killed the Sky Domain boss and the Guardian of Earth Village. Cold and ruthless. Approachable. Global enemy. Human guardian. God of War. Mad demon. Would Manners Joe's eyes widened and her red lips parted. She wanted to say something but didn't know where to begin. Is this the true form of that madman? Why is he in his demon form? This was impossible. It has never appeared in any of the family's records. Lu Yi was more shocked than anyone else. Brother. There were tears in her eyes. Brother. She still remembered that insufferably arrogant and unapproachable mad demon. He had taken great care of Guanglong, especially her. He had said that Nameless had asked him to do so, but in fact, she remembered that when they were young, the brother and sister would share a steamed bun, and her brother would tell her with a smile. I'll make sure you're full in the future. Not only will you be full, but I'll also make you fat. Brother, I don't want to be fat. What's wrong with being a little fatter? Brother, I heard people say today that people change. Will you always love me in the future? Silly girl, no matter what your brother becomes, the person he loves the most will always be you. Brother, there's never been a mad demon with you to level up. You've always been alone in Jiutian. There's never been anyone with you to face your enemy's attacks. You carried everyone's hopes alone. I should have known it was you. I should have thought of it. I'm sorry, brother, Yi should have thought of it. Leng Nuo suddenly felt a little dazed. In that cameo, Big Boss had played the role of the Demon Lord. That cold and gentle character had perfectly overlapped with the person in front of her at this moment. If I wasn't the Demon Lord, would you love me? Did he hate his demon identity, so he had the nameless identity? Li Muhua didn't expect that the secret that Lu Chen had kept for a year would finally be revealed in front of everyone at this moment. In order to protect the players on Earth, in order to protect the people he wanted to protect, he would do anything. Chen. However, there should be a lot of people who had opinions about the mad demon. Wouldn't it be inappropriate to reveal his identity at this time? Suddenly, someone in the crowd shouted, "Mad God, let's have a fight." I don't care what the mad demon did in the past. At that time, everyone thought this was a game. What's the big deal about killing people and massacring people? Who hasn't done it before? Everyone in level 1 is working hard to become stronger. Why do you want the mad god to do things that you can't do yourself? Ever since we came to level 2, both the mad demon and the nameless have fought for us. Now, the mad god is fighting a powerful level 3 elite. What reason do we have to blame him? Mad demon and the god of war, as long as you're fighting for Earth, I'm willing to worship you as the mad god. Yes. Today, no matter who wins or loses, it's the battle of the mad god. The real mad god. I'm willing to worship you as the mad god. That's right. You can say that I'm a bootlicker or that I'm cheap, but I'm convinced by this person. The mad god is the pride of us Earth players. You have thousands of troops and thousands of elite fighters, but I have the mad god. The mad god can beat me 1,000,000 times, but I treat the mad god like my first love. The person next to her was speechless. Sister, although what you said is true, but, isn't it a bit inappropriate to say this now? Ah. Hee, to be honest, I've always liked the mad demon more. Back then, I voted for him as the most handsome man on Earth. I really like his chest muscles. Wow, that feeling of Beauty and the Beast. No, this is definitely an upgraded version of Beauty and the Demon. Hee, it's super exciting just thinking about it. The young man almost vomited blood. We're all big sisters like this. Mad God, break that bastard's bullshit 3 death formation. Mad God, kill green dog. Li Muhua looked at the excited players in surprise. He didn't expect that these players didn't care about the mad demon's previous massacre. Supporting the mad god had become the mainstream. Their only worry was now gone. The war of the gods. Very good, Chen, go all out and fight. No matter what the result is. Jiu looked behind her in surprise. Was this the Earthling? Ba Men frowned. That guy has cheated a lot of people in level 1. Is that why he's been hiding his other identity? But why is he no longer hiding it now? Why is he doing this? Ba Men turned to look at Sister Jiu. Jiu was a little embarrassed. Indeed, that guy had released this power right before she was about to be killed. Was he doing this for her? Maybe not. Maybe he was doing this for his own people, but at least Jiu's heart was stirred. The War of the Gods. With the difficulty of this battle, it was indeed qualified to be called the War of the Gods. But could he break the 3 death formation? At this moment, there was a loud bang. Inside the 3 death formation, the surrounding space shattered like glass. Ah! There was a terrifying roar. A demon had broken free from its shackles. Chapter 428. 3 Death Formation, Break. Demonic Change, all types of damage dealt by oneself and demonic pets will be increased by 300%. All attacks will be converted into dark type attacks 100%, the ratio is controllable. At the same time, it will be punished by the heavens, and 5% of its maximum health will be taken every second. When Lu Qin completed the demonic change, the sky was instantly filled with dark clouds, lightning, and thunder. The wind raged, making it hard for people to stand still. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning struck his body. Lu Chen's health bar, which was already not much, dropped by a large chunk. Punishment from the heavens. It was as if this creature was not recognized by the heavens and earth and had triggered a heavenly anomaly. Green Wolf's eyes were wide open. Even he had never seen such a horrifying skill. Punishment from the heavens? What kind of skill was this? However, Green Wolf was indeed an experienced fighter. He quickly calmed himself down. Judging from the mad god's health, Lu Qin would die after 2 more heavenly punishments. He had less than 2 seconds. No matter what skill the other party used, it was impossible to kill him in 2 seconds. Green Wolf was absolutely confident. You can't even live anymore, and you still want to be a hero and protect those useless people? The demon cracked a maniacal smile. Protect them. They don't deserve it. I just want to kill you. The group of Earth players was dumbfounded. What? The mad god said we don't deserve it. What does that mean? Can't you tell what he means? He already thinks we're a burden to him. We supported him so much before. It turns out that in his eyes, we're just trash. Could it be that his consciousness was affected after he turned into a demon? Don't defend that guy. I think he's just looking down on us. Louis frowned. This was definitely not her brother's style. He wouldn't say something like that. Then, what did he mean? Jiu was puzzled. This guy was obviously here to protect the Earth players. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come at all. But why did his temperament suddenly change? To say such heartless words to a group of people who supported him. It was very hurtful. On the battlefield, Lu Qin didn't care about what these people thought. He didn't have much time. Ghostly shadows, 100 ghosts parade. In an instant, over 100 identical demons appeared on the field. These demons moved rapidly in the field, their figures blurred. The most important thing was that at this time, it was impossible to distinguish which one was the real Lu Qin. This is illusory displacement. Green Wolf's eyes widened. His 3 purities sword arts did have an area of effect, but in the face of so many illusions, he didn't dare to attack rashly. If he made a wrong judgment and allowed that guy's real body to get close, he would be in danger. One had to know that this guy was the one who broke through the 3 extinction formation. His physical attack was over 810,000. Even Green Wolf wouldn't dare to let that guy get close. The only way was to use the shield of 10,000 swords to temporarily defend. As long as he could hold on for 2 seconds, he would win. Sanqing sword art, myriad sword shield. 1 shield of 10,000 swords might not be enough. Sanqing sword art, Sanqing protection. Behind the azure wolf, 3 afterimages of immortals appeared. With 4 layers of defense, they could last for 2 seconds. Suddenly, a figure appeared behind Green Wolf and was about to attack. This figure was extremely fast, and its figure was blurry, making it difficult to detect. However, Green Wolf wasn't surprised. Instead, he was delighted. The strength of the phantoms lay in their illusions. Previously, when he couldn't identify Mad God's real body, he was still worried. However, now that he had discovered Mad God's attack, he could win as long as he avoided it. Are you the only one who knows displacement? Star treading 9 palaces. In an instant, Green Wolf's figure suddenly disappeared and reappeared far away from Mad God. Trash, you've already lost. Is that so? A hoarse voice suddenly sounded in his ears. You're already dead. A ghostly figure suddenly appeared in front of Green Wolf. Dragon blood boil. Tiger descends the mountain. Green Wolf's nerves jumped. That guy actually had the patience to play tricks with him in the last 2 seconds. How calm could this guy be? No, he still had 4 layers of defense and 5,600,000 HP. He only had 1 second left. There was no way he could kill him. Tiger Descends the Mountain directly hit him with a 10-hit combo and 30 hits. The poison attack was ineffective against the 10,000 swords shield, but the 10-hit combo hit the spinning sword formation. At this time, Lu Chen's HP was less than 1%. Under the passive, frenzy, state, his attack speed, movement speed, and attack power increased by 396%, and his skill cooldown decreased by 99%. What was even more terrifying was that he had activated Dragon Blood Boil. After 80% of his HP was deducted from 1%, he had 0.2% HP left, which was only a few 100,000 HP. At a glance, his HP bar was already empty. However, what he got in return was a crazy state that bordered on insanity. His attack speed was already hard to catch with the naked eye. 1 hit, and the 10,000 swords shield shattered. 1 hit, and the Shang-Qing protection collapsed. 1 hit, and the Shang-Qing protection collapsed. 1 hit, and the Shang-Qing protection collapsed. In the blink of an eye, Green Wolf was about to face that crazy, sinister smile. Green Dog, you've been waiting for a long time. It's your turn. The demon's sharp claws instantly cut through Green Wolf's luxurious clothes. In an instant, dozens of normal attacks caused a large number of damage values to float above his head. However, no one would have thought that this demon, who could break through 4 layers of defense, would cause surprisingly low damage when his attacks landed on Green Wolf's body. -17,000, -18,000, -17,000, it's impossible for the damage to be so low. 8 Gates frowned. However, he quickly thought of a possibility and immediately broke out in cold sweat. No, he didn't use his full strength. This was probably the only explanation. This guy. His HP is already so low, and he dares to not use his full strength? He's really crazy. He's completely crazy. Green Wolf deliberately used small damage to kill Big Brother and that Earth player. He did it on purpose. Warner frowned. That guy is punishing Green Wolf. Lu Chen adjusted his attack to around 800,000 DPS, which was just enough to allow him to sustain the effects of heavenly punishment. With rapid attacks, he could split the 800,000 DPS into dozens of attacks, or even dozens of attacks. With every attack, he was tearing Green Wolf's body apart. Blood splattered everywhere, and his body became blurry. The negative statuses on him had already made it impossible for him to do anything. Stun, silence, speed reduction, and spiritual energy storage rapidly decreased. At this moment, Green Wolf's Brutal Demon King effect had become the most terrifying negative statuses on him. Ah! You lunatic, stop right now. Stop. That was absolutely impossible. Even heavenly punishment could not stop him. The current Lu Chen had already performed madness to the extreme. Ah! I'm going to tear you apart. Ah! Ah! Green Wolf screamed and looked at the lunatic in front of him in horror. Even if he had survived in the cruel environment of the third heaven for such a long time, he could not help but feel fear and despair. It turned out that from looking down on everyone to being scared witless, it was only a matter of an instant. Please, please, let me go. I won't dare to do it again. A crazy and bloodthirsty face instantly came close to Green Wolf's terrified face. He licked his lips and smiled. Sorry, I don't accept begging. Chapter 429. He ignored Green Wolf's cries and pleas as he killed and tore him apart. Blood splattered everywhere. The demon seemed to want to empty out Green Wolf's body. A level 3 powerhouse begged in front of him, but he couldn't win his forgiveness. 6 million HP, under the rapid attack, was nothing. Seeing that Green Wolf's HP was almost empty, Lu Chen snorted and raised the reverse water scale sword. Black Dragon Soul Seal. The reverse water scale sword instantly turned into a black tiger dragon and directly pierced through Green Wolf's body, nailing him to the ground. Black Dragon Soul Seal. After being hit by the Soul Seal, the player will not be able to revive for 3 days. After reviving, the player will only have 1 HP left. You're so cruel. Green Wolf died after saying his last sentence. Devil transformation didn't show the skill's duration, but Lu Chen had lost his target and quickly dispelled the devil transformation state. The bloodthirsty state disappeared, the heaven's punishment gradually disappeared, and the dark clouds gradually dispersed. A demon held the reverse water sword with his back facing everyone, nailing a strong enemy under his sword. After the battle, a gentle breeze blew past, and the grass rippled like waves. The fragrance of the grass was mixed with the faint smell of blood. In the azure sky, white clouds brushed past. The sky was high and the clouds were far away. In the distance, the 3 demon beasts of the Hunter Emperor had already been defeated. Their bodies still had traces of being gnawed by Little Furball. The Hunter Emperor was still bitterly holding on, but he only had a pitiful amount of HP left. Now that he saw his master's tragic death, his heart was probably dead. He had already given up resisting and stood there in a daze. You 4, come back. Lu Chen's voice was very low, very calm, and very tired. He didn't kill the Hunter Emperor. Behind him, there were countless of his compatriots, his friends, his family, but he didn't turn back. He just stood there, slightly raised his head, looking at the sky and breathing in the fresh air. The wind gently caressed his pores. The 9 heavens domain was as real as ever. In the end, he still came to this step and used the method he hated the most to let everyone know everything. There was no cheering behind him, it was so quiet that it was scary. He must have scared them, whatever, he would eventually go far away. He could not take care of these people forever, and as the people he met grew stronger, these people would also suffer because of him. In the end, they still had to rely on themselves. It was time for him to let go of this responsibility. Those fellows should not disappoint him. Since that was the case, he might as well do it more thoroughly. Boss, are you all right? A voice came from behind him. It was kneeling every 10 steps, the first person to call him nameless. He had long become Lu Chen's trusted friend. Lu Chen slowly turned around. The green mist in his eyes left 2 afterimages, just like his tears. Pulling out the reverse water scale rune sword, Lu Chen slowly raised his sword. He grinned arrogantly. Of course I'm fine. It's good that you're fine. Boss, thank you for protecting us again. Protect you? Lu Chen sneered. I've already said that you don't deserve it. I only want to defeat stronger opponents. You're too weak. It's my shame to be the same as you. I think Green Dog is right. You don't have to continue living in the Jotian. It's too easy for you. This won't do. I have to let you know what you are. Tiger's Roar. Great Ravager Sweep. Without warning, Lu Chen directly swung out dozens of sword auras. Even without the god transformation, Lu Chen's fury status was still there. His attacks were already terrifying. Wherever the sword auras passed, corpses were everywhere. Under 30 sword auras, countless Earth players were killed instantly. Is this guy really crazy? Why is he like this? Has he really gone mad? Damn it, to think that I supported him just now. He's a bastard. I've already said that this guy is not a good person. He's not worthy of our trust. When Lu Yi saw this scene, she was dumbfounded. Was this her brother? No, definitely not. As the saying goes, the person involved is confused, but the onlooker sees more clearly. Jiu frowned and did not say anything. In the blink of an eye, millions of Earth players were killed. The Earth players' army was in chaos. Lu Chen finally stopped. He summoned the 9-winged dragon, jumped on it, and flew into the distance. Jiu saw this and seemed to have made up her mind. She gritted her teeth and chased after him. After Lu Chen left, Hunter Emperor's legs turned to jelly. He knelt on the ground and repeated in a daze, "He's a demon, a demon, a demon." Jiu chased after the dragon in the sky. Soon, she could not catch up. Fortunately, the 9-winged dragon seemed to have landed on a mountain peak. Damn it, where did this guy get this mount? Why can't I use my mount when he's using it? Jiu was so angry that she gritted her teeth. However, she did not stop. The 9-winged dragon had landed. She could finally use her mount. Elite guard, bring me to that mountain peak. In front of the cliff at the mountain peak, a demon was sitting by the cliff in a daze. He did not seem to be in a good mood. Lu Chen saw a big bird circling around for a while before flying toward him. He frowned slightly and was about to leave. "Hey, don't go." Lu Chen took a closer look. There was a person standing behind the big red bird. It was Jiu from the Wood Mansion. Jiu quickly arrived at the mountain peak. She kept her elite guard and landed not far from Lu Chen. It was the first time seeing this terrifying demon so close. Jiu was very nervous. She stood there and did not dare to come closer. Lu Chen could not help but laugh. This girl was still so timid. He still remembered how she gave him 3 or 4 victories in the ancient battlefield. That. Are you really nameless? Jiu was very nervous. Lu Chen really wanted to scare her. However, considering that the people from the Wood Mansion had helped the Earth players when he was not around, he did not want to scare this coward. "Didn't you see me transform?" After hearing an affirmative answer, Jiu was slightly relieved. "I know why you want to kill your own people." Lu Chen frowned slightly. "Why?" "You purposely left the Hunter Emperor alive and let him see you turn against your compatriots in front of him. After this news spreads, your enemies won't come looking for trouble with Earth's players anymore." Lu Chen looked at Jiu in surprise. Others did not see it, but she saw it first. Also, she was the one who reminded him of the way to break the 3-death formation. This woman, other than being afraid of ghosts, was actually quite smart. "Actually, what you did was right." Jiu finally gathered her courage and walked over. Earth is a technological world. There is no martial power. A world without any foundation is too weak in the Jyotian world. The best way to protect them is to draw a clear line with them. Jiu looked at Lu Chen's eyes. She wanted to see that familiar look in Lu Chen's eyes. However, she could only see 2 balls of green flames. "However, you also left them with the greatest opportunity." Lu Chen frowned slightly. "When I left, the Hunter Emperor was scared out of his wits. He definitely did not dare to stay in the Earth Village for long. Furthermore, the Black Dragon Soul Seal prevented Green Wolf from reviving for 3 days. The Hunter Emperor definitely did not dare to wait for his master to revive. After Green Wolf was resurrected, he only had 1 HP. That is to say, the players on Earth could kill him without limit. Any equipment that he dropped would be a treasure even in the second heaven. But you didn't take any of them and left them all to your compatriots. The reason why you did that, I guess, is because you are about to leave the second heaven. Because you can no longer protect them, you did not hesitate to be misunderstood. Am I right?" Lu Chen was shocked. This woman's IQ was a little scary. Chapter 430. Lu Chen's silence was a tacit agreement. He didn't expect that the person who understood him the most was Jiu of the Wood Manor, whom he had only met a few times. Lu Chen turned his head and looked in the direction of Earth Village. The reason why he wasn't so lucky was because he could see his companions here. Jiu gathered her courage and sat beside Lu Chen. "Is your planet beautiful?" Jiu smiled. Che, everyone says their planet is beautiful. It's true, it's especially beautiful. At least in the galaxy I know, there isn't a planet that's as beautiful as yours. It's a blue planet, just like a sapphire. Blue? Jill frowned slightly. It's indeed rare. If there's a chance, I'll go to your home to take a look. Can you go to my planet? Yes, but it can only be done in a higher heaven. Then can you go? I'm a little doubtful. Jill realized that Lu Chen was saying that her strength was too weak. She immediately frowned and glared at Lu Chen. I'm so arrogant with just this bit of strength. Let me tell you, wait for me to fuse. In any case, I'll definitely catch up to you in the future. Alright, you said it. I hope you won't make me wait too long. Of course. How can you look down on the people of the Wood Manor? Jill's unconvinced expression was especially cute. So your ID is solipsistic? Lu Chen revealed his golden ID. Showing off again. Lu Chen shook his head helplessly. It's golden. What can I do about it? Alright, but your ID is a little similar to your personality. Is it? I'm actually very low-key. It's just that my opponents seem to like to be high-profile, which gives me a headache. With this girl, Lu Chen could casually talk to her about a lot of thoughts that he wouldn't talk to others about. Lu Chen didn't know what this feeling was, but he was willing to tell Jill so much. Right, the person who blocked the sword for you it's my big brother. Jill rushed to answer. Lu Chen nodded. Thank him for me. Jill's face immediately turned red. Her big brother had blocked the sword for her, so why should she thank him? Thank you for your help. If it weren't for you, Green Dog would have killed a lot of Earth players. He had tripled the pain threshold. Many people wouldn't be able to take it. There are also many women and children in there. Lu Chen was still a little angry when he mentioned this. He had indeed killed countless Earth players, but they were all normal kills. He didn't activate the sense of pain, and he couldn't activate the Jiao Dragon's soul seal. He just needed to go back and revive. It was completely different from Green Wolf's torture. What's there to thank me for? Speaking of which, it was Big Brother who said that you might have been beaten back to the first layer of heaven. Ah. So it was you guys who spread the rumors. Then we didn't do it on purpose. The Immortal Trail Forest was almost destroyed. Even 10 of us wouldn't be able to survive. Who knew that you would be so powerful? Jill said without any confidence. Lu Chen was both angry and amused. Alright, he couldn't afford to be angry with them. Mad God, when are you going to the third layer of heaven? I still need some time. I'm going to open the purgatory difficulty. Ah. You're going to open the purgatory difficulty. You're trying to kill us. Lu Chen frowned slightly. Suffer a little now, and you'll be stronger in the future. Don't you people from the Wood residence know a lot? How come you don't know this? We came out to train, but because of my body. Anyway, my family didn't want anything to happen to me, so we found a less difficult area to train in. In the end, you raised the easy difficulty area to the top. Did I offend you in some way? Lu Chen smiled. This can only mean that you're unlucky to always meet me. We've only met a few times. It's more than you think. Lu Chen said mysteriously. Before this woman knew about the ancient battlefield, they had already met. Beside the cliff, a timid Wood resident's Jill was leaning against a terrifying demon. The two of them were casually chatting about boring topics, but they didn't feel bored. Neither of them was willing to leave first. In the end, it was Jill who left first. Xiao Tian had revived, so she had to go back and take a look. I'll leave first. Oh right. Wait for me to leave before riding your 9-winged celestial dragon. Don't worry, the 9-winged celestial dragon's area of influence isn't that big. There's one more thing. Jill summoned her elite guards, but looked at Lu Chen hesitantly. When we cross the bridge of helplessness. Forget it, I'll leave first. Lu Chen was also depressed. Why did she leave halfway through her sentence? After watching Jiu leave, Lu Chen stood up. He didn't know how the players on Earth would look at him in the future, but he didn't care. Especially after seeing Green Wolf's strength, Lu Chen couldn't wait to go to the third heaven to see what kind of place it was. Remnant Life had told him that the third heaven was definitely not what he imagined it to be. The third heaven might have a lot of variables, but at least the people there were definitely strong enough. Level up, find the people in the mountains, kill spiritual martial apothecary, and then go to the third heaven. Lu Chen thought for a while, then changed back into his human skin. After all, the demon form was too eye-catching. Nine-winged, let's go to the bridge of helplessness. Lu Chen summoned Nine-winged celestial dragon, and the Nine-winged celestial dragon spread its wings and soared into the sky, heading straight for the bridge of helplessness. Standing at the fork in the road, Lu Chen checked the map again. He had already explored the arena and Azura field on the east and west sides, as well as the map behind it. There was only one path left, and that was to go all the way north. Going north along the main road led to the Bridge of Helplessness, and further north was the Monster Mountains, the Fallen Immortal Plains, and the Level 80 main city, which was currently labeled as Ownerless Land. When he defeated the Immortal Slaughtering Poisoner, the Immortal Slaughtering Poisoner gave Lu Chen the coordinates of the people in the mountains. The location of the people in the mountains was the Fallen Immortal Plains. Since the journey was boring, Lu Chen summoned Rhubarb to accompany him on this journey. After walking north for 7 or 8 minutes, Lu Chen saw a wide river in the distance. He could barely see the other side of the river. There was also something special about this river. The river water was black, and there was a faint black mist rising from the river surface. Damn, what kind of river is this? Lu Chen looked as far as he could. There was a bridge at the end of the main road, and it must be the so-called Bridge of Helplessness. Rhubarb, follow me. I feel that this Bridge of Helplessness is not an ordinary bridge. Lu Chen perked up a little. An antique wooden bridge appeared in front of Lu Chen. Most of the bridge was hidden in the black mist, and only a small section of the wooden structure could be seen. There seemed to be a figure sitting on the bridge. It was unknown whether it was a player or an NPC. This bridge can cross such a wide river. It's a bit capricious. Speaking of which, could that person be Mengpo? I don't need to drink Mengpo's soup. Lu Chen couldn't help but think of some legends of Huaxia. In front of the wooden bridge, there was a stone tablet as usual. Forget this life in front of the Bridge of Helplessness. It's hard to meet after the Bridge of Helplessness. Lu Chen blinked his eyes. He didn't know what this sentence meant. He complained and stepped onto the Bridge of Helplessness. Seeing that someone was approaching, the person in the black fog finally stood up. This was an old woman who didn't look like a human at all. Her face was so bloated that it was almost scary. When she smiled, there was no sense of kindness or kindness. Instead, it made people's hair stand on end. Young man, if you want to cross the Bridge of Helplessness, you have to pay the toll. The old woman smiled strangely. Chapter 431. Toll fee. Lu Chen looked at the old woman in surprise. You're not really Mengpo, are you? Don't tell me you want me to drink Mengpo's soup. I'm not dead yet, and this isn't the underworld. The old woman maintained her unrefined smile. That's just a legend in your little world. It's very different from the real Jiutian. I'm not Mengpo, I'm just collecting toll fees. How much? A memory of the person you love the most, the old woman said with a smile. Just one. That's a fair price, isn't it? Fuck, fair my ass. As expected, then I won't take your Naraka bridge. I'll just fly over. Young man, do you know what's in the river of forgetfulness? Lu Chen looked at the river water under the bridge. It was pitch black, but now that he was on the river, he could see more clearly. Only then did he realize that the river water was not black, but red. The color of blood after being exposed to oxidation for a long time, it's blood? In the past, all the players who died would have a part of their soul extracted and trapped here. Don't look at me in surprise. There's a price to pay for death. It's the same everywhere. Of course, in the first and second heavens, the loss of soul energy after death can be replenished by the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. This is also why players lose experience after death. Jyotian uses the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to help nourish their damaged souls. Lu Chen was extremely shocked. An NPC on the Naraka bridge had once again overturned his understanding of Jyotian. When Jyotian was first released, other games required experience to level up, but Jyotian set it to require spiritual energy of heaven and earth. At that time, people thought that it was a setting change made by Tianqing to be more in line with Xianxia-themed online games. But now, Lu Chen understood that the spiritual energy of heaven and earth had such a terrifying effect. At that moment, Lu Chen even felt that Nine Heavens realm was a little scary. The old woman continued to speak with a smile. So many worlds, so many people, how many times have they died? You should understand this point, and the river of forgetfulness can be said to be the place with the most abundant heaven and earth spiritual chi in the second layer of heaven. In the sky above areas where spiritual energy is abundant, the flow of spiritual energy is fierce. Some places can fly at low altitudes, but the river of forgetfulness can't, because it not only condenses spiritual energy, but also resentment. Every player's negative emotions when they die will be collected and accumulated. The layer of fog on the surface of the river of forgetfulness is formed from negative emotions. Believe the old woman's words. If you don't want to die, then don't try to fly over the Wangchuan River. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes and hesitated. At this time, a large group of several dozen people came up to the Bridge of Helplessness. Seeing that Lu Chen hadn't made a decision, the old woman went to greet the group of people. Among the group of people, a middle-aged man seemed to be their leader. His ID was Big Brother Dai Tu. He glanced at Lu Chen and was slightly puzzled. Why was there a guy here who was alone? Hey, friend, why did you come to the Bridge of Helplessness alone? Big Brother Dai Tu ignored the old woman and walked toward Lu Chen. The second heaven was very different from the first heaven. The more people in the first heaven, the stronger they were. But in the second heaven, when you saw a group of people in the wild, the fewer people there were, the stronger they were. Only when they were strong enough could they travel in the wild in a small group. Big Brother Dai Tu had at least 70 to 80 people on his side. He estimated that there were two groups, and their strength was considered average in the second heaven. However, Lu Chen never cared about other people's strength. When people talked to him enthusiastically, he never put on airs. Oh, I came here first. Are you guys going to cross the Bridge of Helplessness? Yes. Hey, friend, how many people are in your group? This sentence was obviously probing Lu Chen's strength. 30 to 40. Oh, then their strength is about the same as ours. Are you guys interested in joining us? After crossing the Bridge of Helplessness, the difficulty there is very high. I was originally in a group of 40. Later, a friend of mine joined another group, so we all joined together. We can take care of each other. Big Brother Dai Tu was surprisingly straightforward. You also know that for people like us, it is more difficult to survive in the second heaven. It is much better to have someone to take care of each other. Lu Chen nodded. Yes, but, Big Brother Dai Tu saw that Lu Chen was unwilling and immediately took the initiative to say, it's okay, it's okay. Hey, I was just mentioning. The key to forming a group is mutual trust. It is indeed not something that can be casually formed. Lu Chen had a good impression of Big Brother Dai Tu. This person was quite straightforward. Oh right, Big Brother, how do you plan to pay for the Bridge of Helplessness? She wants a memory of the person she loves the most. This is a bit exaggerated. What else can we do? If we don't pay, we can't cross. We can only pay. Then, will I really forget about it after giving it to you? I mean, will we forget those memories in real life? Of course. At the current stage, Jiutian is connected to the game through the consciousness of the brain. Aren't memories stored in the brain? Lu Chen took a deep breath. If that was the case, then the toll was indeed a bit expensive. Isn't this too much? Big brother Dai Tu looked at Lu Chen. Young man, you are a pure and innocent newbie, you are too honest. There are loopholes in this thing that can be exploited. Ah. Lu Chen looked at big brother Dai Tu in surprise. There is a bug. Lu Chen really did not know where there was a loophole. Of course there is. Forget it, we are fated, so I will tell you. She wants a memory of the person you love the most. You can love a few more people on a daily basis. When the time comes, you will have a lot of choices. Lu Chen was shocked. What kind of bug was this? Humans must love everyone. Don't be so narrow-minded. Lu Chen took a deep breath and nodded solemnly. What Big Brother Dai Tu said makes sense. But is there any way to remedy it now? Big Brother Dai Tu looked at Lu Chen and hesitated. Ahem, there is, but I am really short on money to buy medicine recently. I can't think of anything at the moment. Lu Chen immediately understood and gave Big Brother Dai Tu 100 gold coins. Big Brother Dai Tu looked at the money with some disdain. As the leader, you have to think for your subordinates. Lu Chen gave him another 900 gold coins. 1,000 gold coins was nothing to Lu Chen, but it was definitely a huge sum of money to the average player. I can tell that you are a sentimental person at first glance. Big Brother Dai Tu's eyes lit up. He quickly put away the gold coins, then whispered in Lu Chen's ear, haven't you heard of the saying, money makes the world go round? Give her 1,000 gold coins and she will let you pass. This. But little brother Dai Tu, I have to tell you something. Big brother Dai Tu suddenly became serious. The path of Jiutian is as difficult as ascending to heaven. The fewer ties you have, the further you can go in the end. The bridge of helplessness is to make you stronger. After crossing the bridge of helplessness, forget a person and you will receive a 10% increase in attributes. At the same time, you will also forget those useless things. In order to become stronger, more people choose not to pay to cross the bridge. Lu Chen frowned slightly. Big brother, what about you? Me? Big brother Dai Tu's smile was a little lonely. I have too much on my shoulders. If I am not strong enough, I can't even protect the person I love the most. What is the use of remembering? If you love that person enough, then, forget her. Chapter 432. There were a lot of people on Big Brother's side, but not everyone knew the rules of the Bridge of Helplessness. The captains with inside information were explaining to their team members. Lu Chen already knew how to cross the Bridge of Helplessness. He walked in front of the old woman. Excuse me, how much will it cost to cross? The old woman looked at Lu Chen and smiled. I quite like people like you who are straightforward. I can let you cross for 10,000 gold coins, but you will lose the chance to increase your basic attributes by 10%. You should know that this is not a small bonus. Are you willing to lose this opportunity for someone? Besides, not everyone can take out such a large sum of money. Lu Chen smiled brightly. Are there any other grades? Huh? The old woman looked at Lu Chen in surprise. The fee to cross the Bridge of Helplessness was already an open secret, but there were not many who asked about other grades. 10,000 gold coins, 90% of people could not take it out. Not to mention the higher grades. There are, but I'm afraid you don't have that much money. When the surrounding people heard that there were other grades, they suddenly quieted down and looked at Lu Chen in surprise. Lu Chen smiled faintly, you can tell me about it. Maybe I can get it. Okay, I have two types of tolls. One is 1 million gold coins. Not only do you not have to pay for the memory, but you can also get the 10% attribute bonus. Lu Chen finally breathed a sigh of relief. This method was already a safe choice. What about the other one? What about the other one? Tell me first, do you have 1 million gold coins on you? In high-level maps, some bounty hunters would have so much money on them, but that was only after they reached a higher level and became stronger. Those who could take out so much money before crossing the bridge of helplessness were definitely rare. Yes. Tell me the next one. The old woman looked at Lu Chen again and narrowed her eyes. Okay, then the next one, 100 times more. 100 million gold coins, memory retention, 20% attribute bonus. When they heard this price, the others suddenly exploded. Damn, 100 million gold coins. Are you kidding me? Who would have so many gold coins? I'm afraid that only a powerful organization can accumulate hundreds of millions of gold coins. No organization would spend so much money on a single person. Fuck, I can't even afford 10,000, let alone 1 million. Forget it, in order to become stronger, I'm willing to forget that person. However, at this moment, Lu Chen's voice was heard. I'll pay 100 million. Dao Tu almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Could this guy afford 100 million gold coins? In this second heaven where currency was extremely scarce, how could he take out 100 million? Fuck, this guy is too rich. Who is he? People from the 5 major powers? The 5 great powers can't give out so much for everyone. Lu Chen quickly paid the money. Obtained the title, Money Can Reach the Heavens, basic 4-dimensional attributes increased by 20%. Another title. But this time, Lu Chen nodded in satisfaction. 100 million was a large sum of money to him, accounting for half of his total assets. However, it was definitely worth it to have 10% more attributes than others. Moreover, his basic attributes were already high, and his 20% increase was much greater than others. This deal was definitely worth it. Young man, I really couldn't tell. You can go over now. The old woman still had a smile on her face, but it seemed more sincere than the polite smile from before. Lu Chen nodded. Dao Tu's words just now had influenced Lu Chen. He still remembered that Ken Sheng had told him that there were no real NPCs in Jiutian, which meant that this woman was actually a player. Since she could take the money and let him go, it was very likely that she had a higher authority. In the end, Lu Chen tried to ask, and as expected, he received an unexpected reward. Just as Lu Chen stepped onto the bridge of helplessness, Dao Tu's shout came from behind him. Little brother, it's 100 million, is it worth it? Lu Chen stopped and turned to look at Dao Tu with a smile. The person I want to remember is definitely not a burden to me. On the contrary, she is my motivation. Moreover, I don't like to be led by the nose. Brother, thank you for letting me keep this memory. Lu Chen pushed a trade window and entered 1 million gold coins to Dao Tu. This is the reward. Dao Tu's eyes were filled with shock. That guy gave him 1 million gold coins for free. However, at the same time, he also gave him a super difficult problem. In the past, he did not have a choice, but now, how should he choose? Walking on the bridge of helplessness, Lu Chen noticed that someone was knocking on the door of the gaming cabin. Lu Yi ran to her brother's room and pulled him out of the gaming cabin. It was not easy for this girl to wait until now to find Lu Chen. Brother, why didn't you tell me earlier? Lu Yi was a little angry. Li Muhua knows. Lu Chen scratched his head. I didn't want to hide it from you, but I didn't find the right opportunity to say it. That, 10 steps must hate me, TSK, do you think we're stupid? Lu Yi's anger had obviously not subsided. We all know what kind of person you are. Sister Nuanuo said that you must have done this to prevent more powerhouses from finding trouble with us. It's just that. Some people on the internet don't seem to understand you. Speaking of this, Louis could not help but feel sorry for her brother. Brother, do you want to clarify things? Lu Chen smiled and shook his head. What's there to clarify? If I really clarify things, then wouldn't I have killed so many people for nothing? I don't care what others think of me. Don't go around talking about it. Develop yourselves well. Okay, got it. Brother. Lu Yi said and walked over to hide in Lu Chen's arms like a spoiled child. You must be careful when you're alone in the future. Lu Chen touched Lu Yi's hair. Okay, I will. Looking at Lu Yi, Lu Chen smiled slightly. How could he forget about his sister? Being able to get the understanding of his friends was the happiest thing for Lu Chen. As for the others, Lu Chen did not care. On the contrary, he needed these people who did not understand him to make others think that Mad God and the players on Earth had broken up. After spending a huge sum of 100 million, Lu Chen did not feel anything. Earning money was not difficult for him. It seems that being rich is also a kind of ability. Lu Chen sighed. If there's a chance to make money in the future, I'll have to earn more, lest I encounter such a strange request again. Speaking of which, if I had to choose, who would I choose? It should be Lu Yi. Lu Chen thought about it and found that there was no suspense in this question. Unknowingly, Lu Chen had already passed the Naraka bridge. Looking back at the river of forgetfulness, Lu Chen shook his head. Were there countless souls gathered there? Spirit Condensation Mountain gave birth to a sub-originator. Would something terrible be born here as well? Thinking of this possibility, Lu Chen could not help but shudder. After the battle with the tiger dragon, he really did not want to fight underwater. Even if there were, he did not want to go there for the time being. In front of him was the monster mountains. Compared to the monster forest, the quality of the monsters in the monster mountains was much lower. However, there were many species, and they were all gathered together. Snake, wolf, tiger, bear, flower demon. I have these bloodlines. Fox. Tree demon. What's that, supersized weasel? As Lu Chen infiltrated, he could find the 5 fairies, lion, tiger, elephant, and ox here. This was the best place to farm bloodlines. It's a pity that their quality is not very high. I don't know if they will drop the best evolution materials. If they can't rise in stars, I can still fuse with another bloodline. Let's try their talents first and upgrade the bloodline and army to level 100. The mountain people's quest should not be simple. Lu Chen still needed to prepare. With a large number of clones, Furball, Sub-Originator, Young Hun Dun, and Tao Tai helping to farm, Lu Chen's farming efficiency was extremely high. Even with 9 kills, his experience bar was still increasing. Little ones, you haven't farmed in a long time. Let's move and level up. Chapter 433. Lu Chen focused on hunting foxes first. The foxes here were snow foxes, fire foxes, and charm foxes. There were elites or bosses with multiple tails, but there wouldn't be more than 3. Lu Chen deliberately lowered the damage and looked at the foxes' talents. The most important talent of these foxes was evasion. To be precise, when they attacked, they would cause the attacker to hallucinate for a short period of time, causing the normal attack to miss. The probability wasn't very high, about 1 in 10. But the scariest thing was that once they evaded, Lu Chen's entire 5-hit combo would be completely evaded. Lu Chen thought about this problem. Although the combo consisted of several attacks, perhaps Jotian's judgment was that no matter how many combo attacks there were, they were all just one attack. Once they evaded, they would evade all the combo attacks included in this attack. Of course, the specific situation still required the Fox Demon bloodline. 1,000 Fox Demons were quickly collected, and Lu Chen exchanged for the Fox Demon bloodline. Fox Demon bloodline, first job advancement, rank 0 12% chance to cause the enemy's vision to distort through charm, thereby evading the enemy's normal attack, including all the passive effects of this attack. 1% chance to evade the enemy's skills. TSK This talent is quite strong. It can even evade skills. This is definitely possible. Let's see what other talents the wild monsters have first, then decide which to merge with and which to replace. For 2 weeks, Lu Chen had been wandering around the monster mountain range, constantly collecting new bloodlines. Even if these bloodlines couldn't be used temporarily, as long as he kept them, they could be used in the future when he rose in stars. On this day, Lu Chen opened the lightless sky flame pillar and the black coffin dead zone, sitting there and studying bloodlines. There were a large number of clones around, and a group of battle pets were cleaning up the battlefield. Lu Chen sadly realized that his level was no longer up to him. Whether he fought monsters or slacked off, it didn't have much effect on his level. His focus was still on the bloodlines of the 5 immortals: fox, rat, weasel, hedgehog, snake. Other than the snake venom he had, the remaining 4 were all new. The fox demon bloodline increases evasion, the rat demon bloodline steals the opponent's attack, the weasel demon bloodline is a weasel demon bloodline, attacks break the opponent's defense, the hedgehog demon bloodline reflects damage. The damage reflection seems to be the best and can be stacked with my profound armor, but the damage reflection is only effective against close-range attacks. It has no effect against long-range attacks and skills. In reality, the effect is not as good as I thought. Lu Chen carefully analyzed the bloodlines. Forget it, I'll use the fox demon first. Although the dodging rate isn't too high, it can definitely change the outcome of the battle if I can dodge it once in the future. Fusing with the fox demon bloodline. Upgrade to Tier 1 and Tier 2. Fox demon bloodline. First job transition, second rank 16% chance of dodging an enemy's normal attack, including all passive effects attached to the attack, 2% chance of dodging an enemy's technique, 2% chance. I'll wear it first. After dealing with the new talent, Lu Chen upgraded the talent in his hands again. The materials he had now could upgrade 3 talents. He chose the Werewolf Bloodline's Critical Hit, the Flower Demon Bloodline's Vision Enhancement, and the Vengeful Spirit Bloodline's Attack Reduction. At this point, Lu Chen had temporarily settled all his talents. Werewolf Bloodline, Snake Demon Bloodline, Venomous Spider Bloodline, Succubus Bloodline, Tiger Demon Bloodline, Monkey Demon Bloodline, Corpse Demon Bloodline, Vengeful Spirit Bloodline, Bat Demon Bloodline, Bear Demon Bloodline, Fox Demon Bloodline, 11 major systems. Werewolf Bloodline, Tiger Demon, Succubus Bloodline, Vengeful Spirit Bloodline, Tiger Demon, and Bat Demon were all Tier 1 and Tier 2 talents, while the other 5 were Tier 9 talents. After 2 weeks, Lu Chen was already level 100. Lu Chen focused on his other hidden ID. Money can reach the heavens, Demon Sovereign's Eye, Tiger's Courage and Dragon's Might, Silent Moon Vanguard, Take the Top, Capture the Tiger, Blood Pool Vanguard, Elite, Especially Strong, Especially Agile, Especially Muscular Null Leader, First Transformation Demonized Boss, Damn, it's so long. Oh right, after fusing with the new bloodline, take a look at my form. After fusing with the Bear Demon, there aren't many changes, just that my chest muscles have doubled in size. I don't know what will happen after fusing with the fox. I hope it won't be too big. Lu Chen took off his human skin. There weren't many changes to the demon, just that 2 furry ears grew on top of his head, growing on top of his mighty and domineering horns. Damn! Fox ears. Damn it, why are they so feminine? It's completely different from my style. Lu Chen was feeling depressed, but when he turned his head, he found that he had an additional fox tail. This really drove him crazy. Such a mighty and domineering demon with a pair of furry ears and a furry tail. This felt like a pair of muscular men and women's clothing. Damn it. Why did fusing with a fox cause 2 changes? Damn it. Lu Chen missed Lu Yi too much. He hoped that he could kill the spiritual martial apothecary as soon as possible. Then, he should have a chance to see Lu Yi again. By then, he would definitely ask her to throw him into her alchemy furnace to refine him. After letting out a long sigh, Lu Chen realized that he couldn't be handsome for more than 3 seconds. Finally, he stepped on the path to becoming uglier and uglier. I really shouldn't have fused with it. If I continue to fuse with it endlessly, what kind of monster will I become in the end? Lu Chen had no choice. He had changed into a human skin, and he didn't want anyone to see his current demon form. Now that he had reached level 100 and obtained the talent bloodline, it was time for Lu Chen to leave this place. Let's go. Next stop, Fallen Immortal Plains. The mountain man is on that map. I just don't know if that guy will find another hidden place to hide. All the way to the north, crossing over many mountains, the front suddenly became a flat land. Lu Chen successfully found the map stone tablet. Fallen Immortal Plains, the stars fell into the jade plate, and the immortals fell here. Legend has it that this is the site of the War of the 10,000 Immortals. The stars have changed, and time has passed. The immortals left without a trace, but they attracted the immortals. Lu Chen was staring at the words on the stone tablet in a daze. Was this the site of the War of the 10,000 Immortals? Did the War of the 10,000 Immortals really exist? Were those people really immortals, or were they itinerant immortals like Mu Xian? Or were they both? Solipsistic, you're finally here. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Suddenly, a voice came from behind him. Lu Chen frowned slightly and turned around. This person was actually the mountain man. It's you. You've been waiting for me. Don't get me wrong. I'm not interested in men. The mountain man wore a bamboo hat. At first glance, he looked like an expert, but when he spoke, he was not serious. It was similar to the first time they met. Lu Chen was speechless. I didn't think that, follow me. Lu Chen followed him. When they arrived at a remote thatched cottage, the mountain man poured Lu Chen a cup of tea. What kind of tea? Is it 50 spiritual energy per cup? Looks like you've drunk it before. The mountain man laughed. With your attributes, 50 spiritual energy is nothing. Lu Chen smiled sinisterly. Wrong. 50 spiritual energy is very important. Then, he drank it in one gulp. Plus 50 spiritual energy. Another cup. Lu Chen wiped his mouth. I'm not bragging, but I can drink until you go bankrupt. Chapter 434. How did you know I would come? Lu Chen asked as he sipped his tea. The mountain man took off his bamboo hat and placed it on the stone table. He smiled at Lu Chen. You defeated Poison Master Immortal in the arena and asked for my whereabouts. I knew you would come to find me. Lu Chen nodded and refilled his cup. There wasn't much tea in the teapot. Lu Chen drank 3 cups and it was gone. This guy was the same as Mu Xian. They were both stingy. Every time, they would only bring half a pot of tea to entertain people. After 3 rounds of tea, the mountain man smiled. Hey, don't just drink tea. Are you going to open the higher difficulty? Yes. I want to open the purgatory difficulty. Tell me, what's the mission? Mission? Ha ha ha, I don't need a mission. I just need you to agree to one of my requests. Lu Chen frowned and looked at the mountain man. You don't need a mission. The mountain man's smile didn't change. I was going to do a mission. But after you defeated Green Wolf, I decided to cancel these meaningless things. How can it be meaningless? You can get rewards by doing missions. I got seed from that mission. It doesn't matter. Even if there's no mission, the reward will still be given. Lu Chen stopped smiling. Obviously, this request wasn't so easy to accept. What is it? Fight with me. Ah. Lu Chen was shocked. Lu Chen wasn't sure how strong the mountain man was, but he was at least on the same level as Mu Xian. In other words, the mountain man's strength was at least an itinerant immortal. Could he win against an itinerant immortal? Little guy, don't be nervous. I'm just itching to fight you. It's boring to do nothing in the second layer of heaven. You can accompany me for some exercise. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. I'll give you a gift in the end. It shouldn't be worse than the hell and purgatory difficulty missions. Lu Chen's expression was serious. What's the difficulty of the game after the battle? Purgatory. Lu Chen nodded. As long as there was a reward, it didn't matter if he did the mission or not. Besides, he didn't need to win this battle. It was purely a competition. Sure. Lu Chen's lips curled up slightly. To be honest, I've long wanted to experience just how strong an expert like you is. The man from the mountain smiled. I don't think you'll be disappointed. With that, the man in the mountain waved his hand, and a sealed environment was formed within 10,000 meters. No one will be watching this battle. You don't have to hold back. Show me your full strength. The mountain man stood up and arrived at the center of the plain in the blink of an eye. Let me see what your upper limit is. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. Did this person want to see the upper limit of his combat strength? To be honest, he had never calculated it himself. But one thing was for sure. Ever since he had reached the second heaven, no one was worthy of his full strength. The tiger dragon and green wolf were the same. A person who could make him go all out could only make Lu Chen feel excited. Lu Chen also stood up and walked towards the fallen immortal plane, standing in front of the mountain people. You're not going to use your demon transformation? Lu Chen shook his head gloomily. If this guy saw his new appearance, he would probably be laughed at. Whether or not I can see the demon transformation depends on whether you have the strength to do so. Hee, you'll know soon enough. Be careful, I won't go easy on you next. Me too. Both of them stopped smiling at the same time. Outside the fallen immortal plane, a group of people was standing in front of the map tablet. We're finally here. Let's go in. Huh? Why can't we go in? There seems to be a barrier. Is it the mountain protection array? I've never heard of the fallen immortal plane that we can't enter. These people tried several times but still couldn't enter the fallen immortal plane. Maybe it's maintenance. Let's go and kill some monsters first. We'll come back later. 3 hours later. In the Galaxy Server District 19, all the players received a system notification. Player Solipsistic represents all the players in District 19 to increase the difficulty of the game to Hell mode. What? Hell mode? It's that guy again. We're being represented by that guy again. Player Solipsistic represents all the players in District 19 to increase the difficulty of the game to the highest difficulty, Hell mode. Damn. What? Hell mode. There's even a purgatory tier. Is there a mistake? Why are there 2 announcements at the same time? It can't be that fast. It's over. It's really hell mode. Our team was killed by a monster that was 4 levels lower than us. Instant kill. The real hell mode is here. From now on, this second heaven will become the real hell mode. Does anyone know how to change servers? Can anyone tell me? I can't take it anymore. I want to change servers. Change my ass. This is the Galaxy server. How can you change servers? You can't change servers for the rest of your life. Of course, there were a lot of people who paid attention to the PvP arena. They knew that there was no lack of super strong players in Hell mode in other servers. However, those who came out of the advanced mode server were extremely strong. It was inevitable. Only by surviving in a difficult environment would one have the chance to become stronger than others. In front of the door of life and death, the 5 people from the wood mansion who were preparing to clear the dungeon stopped and looked at each other. He really increased the difficulty of the game to hell mode. That lunatic. Sigh, this is great. I thought that this training would be easier. Now, it has become the most miserable team in the family. Xiao Tian smiled. Actually, it's a good thing. Only by rushing to the third heaven without relying on the family's power can we shut the others up. Jill Air looked at the sky in the north. Did that guy unlock purgatory? Nothing could stop him. That meant that he might be going to complete the last mission of the second heaven soon. Spiritual Martial Apothecary. A super heavenly domain boss that most people didn't have the chance to see. Could he win this time? The core team of the Wild Waves team killed the monsters in front of them and surrounded Leng Noa. Noa Noa, the guild leader, has increased the difficulty of the game. Luckily, we were prepared and didn't panic just now. Leng Noa, Ning Shuang, and Lu Yi looked at the sky above the forest in the north. They didn't know where that person was now. Hell mode is beneficial for us to become stronger. This is an opportunity for us. Leng Noa took a deep breath and said to everyone, continue to level up. We must rely on ourselves to rise in this hell mode world. Okay. We've been prepared for a long time. I want to find that irresponsible master in the third heaven. Yes, rely on ourselves. No more relying on Mad God, fallen immortal planes. Both of their health points had recovered to full. Lu Chen took a deep breath and looked at the mountain man opposite him. You didn't disappoint me. The mountain man smiled. You have also far exceeded my expectations. You're going to find Spiritual Martial Apothecary next, right? Lu Chen nodded. I have to do this quest. I have to find Lu Yi. Yes, that guy is very strong. You might not be able to defeat him. Lu Chen didn't say anything. This is my gift to you. The mountain man threw 2 items to Lu Chen. Immortal Weapon, Staff of Ksitigarbha, Heavenly Technique, Buddha's Salvation, a monk's technique and weapon. Lu Chen looked at the mountain man in surprise. What's so strange about that? You have all classes. The mountain man smiled. Remember, you have to be very careful when fighting Spiritual Martial Apothecary. Because if you lose, you might really return to the first heaven. He has such a skill. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. Okay, thanks. Chapter 435. After the battle with the mountain man, Solipsistic activated the Solipsistic difficulty. At the same time, Solipsistic disappeared. A month later, people began to adapt to the purgatory difficulty. More teams had to find allies to help them through the difficulties. Due to the sudden increase in difficulty, the battles in the second heaven seemed to have ceased. Everyone was busy adapting to the new difficulty as soon as possible. The bounty hunter group hadn't had any business for a long time. There were fewer and fewer rich people in the district, so their business naturally became bleak. It was worth mentioning that from the increase in difficulty to the hard difficulty and then to the purgatory difficulty, the player's living space was getting smaller and smaller. However, it stimulated the development of life skills. Potioneering, refining, fishing, cooking, talisman crafting, and other professions became important ways to earn money. However, under the super difficulty, the drop rate was also more terrifying than ever before. The quality of the dropped equipment was also greatly improved. The Radiant Moon werewolves could drop dark gold firearms. At the same time, the players on Earth quietly developed under the increased difficulty of the game. On one hand, although the difficulty of the game increased, they still had Lu Chen's personal dungeon. The difficulty of the dungeon seemed to be independent of the system, and it had become a training ground. On the other hand, Green Wolf had indeed been farmed to level 1. With so many people farming him, it was already good that he didn't get into the negatives. His super powerful equipment was taken by the Earth Alliance. The strongest among them was the Sanqing sword. It was said that there was a huge dispute within the Earth Alliance over the ownership of this set of equipment. In the end, it was decided that the strongest players in the main forces would compete for the equipment dropped by Green Wolf. This time, Stardust, Handsome, Sheik, Lu Yi, Ning Shuang, and the others had become the strongest competitors. After all, Lu Chen had personally trained them before. Wild Wave's level was now several levels higher than all the other players on Earth. With the equipment that Jiu Air gave them, they were like a tiger that had grown wings. After more than a year of development, Wild Waves, which used to be a ragtag team, had finally become one of the strongest guilds in the world. A month later, at the finals of the tournament, Wild Waves and the others were competing in different venues. Sister Noah, Brother Black Hole won easily. That set of pauldrons is already ours. 10 Steps came back to report the good news. Leng Noah nodded. 10 Steps sighed. Our guild has already snatched 2 pieces of equipment. Ah, I never thought that we would be so strong now. Floral Fragrance slapped 10 Step heavily. Are you stupid? Our guild is already very strong. 10 Steps scratched his head and smiled embarrassedly. Hey, I was just lamenting. We used to be bullied by friendship every day. Leng Noah smiled slightly. That's right. But she didn't know why, but after the guild became stronger, she wasn't as happy as she had imagined. She still remembered the time when the president asked her with a smile, "Were you bullied?" She still couldn't forget how touched she was at that time. The guild was getting stronger and stronger, but the guild leader was getting further and further away. If she could, she would rather go back to the beginning. 10 Steps, tell me the truth. Do you blame the president? Thinking of that person, Leng Noah looked at 10 Steps. Strange boss. How was that possible? We all know what kind of person boss is. When he stabbed out with his sword, I already understood. 10 Steps stopped smiling. It's just that, ever since that sword strike, I had a feeling that the guild leader might not come back to see us. The atmosphere was somewhat heavy. After a long time, Hua Xiang sighed and looked at the plains behind her. Do you still remember the first time you met the president? We thought he would be killed by wild monsters. Everything seems to have happened yesterday. But from now on, the president will have to challenge even more unpredictable and powerful enemies alone. That's right. Boss has been in the purgatory mode for a month. Why hasn't he gone to the third heaven domain? Is there no announcement for going to the third heaven domain? There is an announcement, but it's only for the players in the world. Yeah, it's been a month. Why hasn't he gone? At the border of the fallen immortal plains, there were mountains. Beyond the mountains, there was an endless ocean. Lu Chen didn't know whether it was an ocean or a huge river like the River of Forgetfulness. In the middle of the steep mountain peak, a wide river with rapid flow fell straight down, forming a spectacular waterfall. Halfway up the mountain near the waterfall, there was a person sitting on a flat rock protruding out of the mountain. Behind him, a group of divine beast cubs and rare pets were playing around. But these couldn't disturb that person's cultivation. This person was Lu Chen. After the battle with the mountain people, he didn't go directly to the spiritual martial apothecary. If the mountain people said that person was very strong, then he was definitely very strong. During this period of time, he had been cultivating his cultivation method here. One was the 3 transformations of gods and demons, and the other was the newly obtained, Buddha saves all lives. The little guys usually went to the mountains to kill monsters to help Lu Chen level up. When they were tired, they would return to Lu Chen to rest. Now was their time to rest. This cultivation lasted from morning to late at night. This cultivation had been going on for a month, and it would continue. But people needed to rest. Late at night, Lu Chen opened his eyes slightly and looked back. The army members were still keeping watch, but the little guys were already asleep. Lu Chen smiled and shook his head. He stood up and stretched his arms and legs. The second transformation is good enough. There's still the third transformation, Buddha saves all lives. Damn. It's still a few months. Damn, it takes a few months to learn a skill. Are all heaven-level skills so crazy? Forget it. I'm going to level up anyway. There's no need to rush. After sitting for a long time, he needed to move. The 3 transformations of gods and demons didn't need to be practiced. They were all skills that added attributes. Buddha saves all lives only had one move, so it didn't need to be practiced. On the other hand, Luqian didn't have the chance to study Phantom Shadows. There were 3 moves in Phantom Shadows. The first move, Ghost Parade, created a large number of illusions. He had already used this move in the battle with Qinglang. But the power of Phantom Shadows didn't lie in creating a large number of illusions. Phantom Shadows alone couldn't be considered an advanced Earth-level movement skill. The second move, Phantom Shadow Descent. His real body could appear in any of the illusions. From the second move onward, the power of Phantom Shadows was truly displayed. There were 300 illusions. As long as the illusions still existed, he could appear in any of them. Phantom Shadows moved very quickly. After appearing, it was even harder to catch them. The third move, Ghost Possession. All the illusions created before could transform into other people's appearances and entangle the enemy. They ignored evasion methods such as movement and clones. The illusions themselves didn't attack. They were only afraid of Heaven's wrath attacks. At the same time, the user could still appear in any of the illusions. After appearing, the ghost possession effect would disappear. Ghost possession was the essence of Phantom Shadows. With 300 ghost possession, he could appear in any of them. This meant that Luqian had 300 chances to get close. Anyone who got close to Luqian knew that if this guy got close to them, it was almost as if they could prepare to return to the reincarnation realm. I need to practice this skill more. After saying that, Luqian directly activated the skill. Beside the uninhabited waterfall, hundreds of ghosts instantly appeared. Then, Luqian quickly appeared. Chapter 436. 2 months later, the players tenaciously adapted to the purgatory difficulty. More and more teams in the wild were trying to hunt a monster. One had to admit that humans had a lot of potential. 3 months later, the quiet 19th district began to become active again. Teams could already be seen fighting in the wild. 4 months, 5 months. Half a year later, the players in the 19th district finally fully adapted to the purgatory difficulty. At this time, many people's equipment had been upgraded. The overall strength of the 19th district had increased a lot after this disaster. However, people seemed to have forgotten that there was still one person who said that he wanted to defeat the super boss in the purgatory difficulty. The heavenly boss that no one wanted to face, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. Even the people from the major factions were not willing to raise the difficulty of the game to purgatory level. The reason was probably related to that terrifying existence. On this day, in the depths of the fallen immortal plane, someone saw a 9-winged celestial dragon flying out from the mountains. In the sky, above the clouds, the 9-winged celestial dragon was domineering. It roared and flashed past. Although people could not see the figure on the 9-winged celestial dragon, wherever the 9-winged celestial dragon passed, divine beasts, monsters, mutated beasts, and magic treasure mounts were forced to surrender. Only one person had such a domineering mount. Damn, this is too much. I have a dark gold mount too. Why did it make way for him? He's back. It's been half a year. He's going to. Do you still need to ask? The only place that's attractive to him is the second heaven. The Tower of Babel. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. He's going to challenge the Tower of Babel. Quick, go offline and watch the live stream. The news spread like wildfire in the 19th district. Not only in the 19th district, but also through the heart-refining courtyard, the news quickly spread among many human galaxies. Earth Village. Mad God appeared. He's going to challenge the Tower of Babel. Let's watch the live stream. You're still calling him Mad God? Has he forgotten all about us? But, we still have to see how strong he has become. The Purgatory Difficulty Boss. The second Heaven players said that we can only hope that he'll be the first to defeat the boss. Only by lowering the boss's attributes can we have hope to defeat it in the future. Stop talking nonsense and log off. Usually, there would be a sea of people here, but suddenly, the number of online players dropped sharply. There were not even a few people in sight. Heart Refinement Courtyard. The boss still has half of its health left. Hey, Solipsistic is going to challenge the Heaven Domain boss. Someone saw him heading towards the Tower of Babel. Really? This? I'm sorry, but it's fine if we don't fight this boss. We have to watch the live stream. I want to see if he's as strong as the legends say. Group 7. After Sengoku Yenran got the news, she was stunned. He's gone. He then quickly went offline. The 5 members of the Wood Mansion's team were registering for the Azura Arena. Right now, the most popular match is. The ticket taker was checking the information. At this moment, Xiao Tian suddenly went offline for a short while before quickly returning to normal. Solipsistic has appeared. He's going to challenge Tong Tian Tower. TSK then hurry up and go offline. Xiao Tian nodded and said to the ticket seller, Senior, I'm sorry, but we won't be challenging it for now. We have a friend who wants to challenge Tong Tian Tower, and we want to watch the live broadcast. Solipsistic. The ticket taker frowned as the image of that silly kid appeared in his mind. He's your friend? Yes. Xiao Tian smiled. As a member of the Wood Mansion, he obviously knew that the person who was talking to them was not an NPC. His attitude was very humble. The old man smiled and shook his head. I didn't expect that guy to be so strong. Back then, I gave him a lot of advice, and that kid listened more seriously than anyone else. Anyway, if he could save some energy, he definitely wouldn't waste any energy. A Purgatory Difficulty Boss. That kid should have met that guy. The 5 members of the Wood Mansion had already gone offline. The ticket taker thought for a while and decided that since no one was coming, he might as well quit for once. At most, he would lose some achievement points. The mountain man drank a cup of tea in front of his straw hut and was slightly lost in thought. Kid, you're out of the mountain. Let me see how strong you've become. Then, he disappeared in a flash. District 2, District 49, District 44, the Python Beast King, Sunset Master and Disciple, Pangu Force King, and many others, no matter what they were doing, quickly put down what they were doing and went offline. That person was going to challenge the Purgatory Tower of Babel. There was nothing more important than this. In the sky, Lu Chen stood on the dragon's head and looked down at the land. Was there a level 80 main city in front of him? Further ahead, among the mountains, there was a towering tower that pierced the sky. Lu Chen's heart was as calm as still water as he looked at the huge tower indifferently. Babel Tower. He opened his quest tab and there was only one quest, Sanctimonious. Louis, I hope to see you again. When the time comes, you must help me refine it again. Right now, my wild monster form is a little unpresentable. Lu Chen shook his head. As he got closer to the Babel Tower, Lu Chen gradually put away his other thoughts. 9-winged dragon, go down. The 9-winged sky dragon swooped down from the clouds straight to the ground. The strong wind blew, lifting Lu Chen's short hair, and his red battle robe fluttered. In midair, Lu Chen directly jumped down and retracted his 9-winged sky dragon at the same time. A moment later, he landed with a loud crash. In front of the Babel Tower, Lu Chen was as small as an ant. He took a deep breath, the battle intent in his heart still burning. He stepped forward and walked toward the Babel Tower. The moment Lu Chen entered the Babel Tower, countless viewers who had been waiting for a long time in the official livestream finally saw that figure. Gold ID, solipsistic. Red outfit, wild blood sword god. Against the water scale sword hanging by his side. On his back, there was a strong black bow. But this time, Lu Chen had an additional Buddhist staff on his back, faintly flashing with white light. Why does Mad God have an additional weapon? Is that dark gold or orange equipment? The color doesn't seem right. White light. Could it be celestial equipment? Wait, why can Mad God use the Buddhist staff? Maybe it's an all-class weapon. Mad God seems to be able to use any weapon. Forget it, let's watch first. In front of Lu Chen, a huge 20-meter-tall iron door was tightly shut. Lu Chen let out a sigh. This time, I don't have to use the left and right hand keys. Not bad, it saves me some time. With one hand pressed on the iron door, Lu Chen pushed hard. With a low creak, the iron door slowly opened in front of him. The entire boss room was filled with green fog. As soon as he stepped into the room, Lu Chen's HP began to drop. Minus 50,000, minus 50,000. 50,000 every second. Debuff, Vicious Forbidden Area, lose 50,000 HP every second. There is no duration. This means that from the moment you enter this room, you will have to spend the rest of your life losing HP. Debuff, Blocked Meridians, all skill damage reduced by 20%, cooldown increased by 20%. Debuff, Poison Explosion, explodes once every 10 seconds, total damage is 50% of all poison damage received during this period. You will be poisoned without even seeing the person. With just these 3 debuffs, many people might not even be able to see Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's face and would have already fallen. However, the person hiding in the poisonous fog did not seem to intend to avoid meeting him. A strange voice came from the depths of the poisonous fog. I heard, you want to kill me. Lu Chen looked toward the voice and saw a figure gradually emerging from the green fog. Before he could see his face clearly, he could see his mouth open. You've kept me waiting. Solipsistic. Chapter 437. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. This boss actually knew about him. As the person walked out of the green poisonous fog, Lu Chen finally saw how the person looked like. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary no longer looked human. This person was about 5 to 6 meters tall and wore a long robe. One could vaguely see that he was burly, but his face was haggard and dark. His strong body and corpse-like face formed an extremely uncomfortable contrast. Compared to this person, the old woman in front of the bridge of helplessness was like a delicate little sister. Speaking of which, I still have to thank you. It has been a long time since someone raised the difficulty to purgatory level. I spent every day in boredom. I can finally come out for some fresh air. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary twisted his neck and made a gurgling sound. Now, with every second that passed, Lu Chen's HP was decreasing. 950 million HP. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary easily knew Lu Chen's HP limit. Your HP is really exaggerated. Unfortunately, in front of me, you are still as fragile as paper. Lu Chen snorted. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary, it feels good to step on other people's corpses to reach where you are today. So what? In this world, the strong are respected and the winner is the king. The king can change history and let the future generations sing praises for him. As for the loser, only white bones are left. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary grinned. When I reach the peak of the second heaven, I can go to a higher heaven region. But what about Lu Yi? She is still at the first heaven. Moreover, you should know very well why Divine Herbalist Valley became Ghost Valley. Unfortunately, Lu Yi realized it too late. When she hardened her heart, she no longer had the ability to control her own fate. To be ruthless, one must be ruthless and decisive, right? Lu Chen looked coldly at this somewhat crazy person. Speaking of which, there seemed to be some similarities between the two of them. The desire to be strong. Obviously, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was very excited now. Solipsistic, don't tell me that you have not stepped on other people's corpses along the way. Therefore, you have no right to judge me. The 10 seconds were up. Lu Chen suddenly received 500,000 points of damage. In addition to the previous 10 seconds of damage, his HP had dropped by 1/7. Lu Chen shook his head and smiled indifferently. Blah, blah, blah. Judge you? I think you're mistaken. I don't need to go through a trial to kill you. Jiu couldn't help but shake her head and sigh. This fellow was still so arrogant. Lu Chen drew the abyssal dragon crystal bow from his back, his eyes emitting green mist. Those who were familiar with Lu Chen knew that only when Lu Chen was extremely angry would he lose control of his body. But this time, before the battle had even begun, such a situation had already occurred. What's going on with boss? 10 Steps asked worriedly. On the other hand, Lu Yi's expression was solemn. She still remembered when her brother was 1v1 with the ace mid-laner of the world champion team back then. Back then, her brother's expression was very similar to now. When fighting with such an expert, the slightest mistake could lead to defeat. So, from the start, one had to be 120% focused and go all out. Is he going to get serious? Stardust narrowed his eyes slightly. God of War Possession. Demon Transformation. Lightless Sky Flame Pillar. Black Coffin Dead Zone. Lu Chen activated all 4 moves at the start. He stared at the opponent in front of him. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary revealed a cruel smile. Is it starting? Very good. I can't wait anymore. I really want to turn you into a voodoo person. Shenlong's Protection. Poison Master's Possession. A golden light flashed across Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's body. Shenlong's Protection, after receiving an attack, recover 40% of the attack's HP and continuously recover 40% of the damage's HP for 5 seconds. One Shenlong's Protection was equivalent to reducing 80% of the attack's damage. Moreover, it was in the form of healing. In other words, any type of damage was the same. Then, a huge virtual image of an unknown species appeared behind Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. It was even bigger than the God of War Possession. It was baring its fangs and brandishing its claws like a ghost. Poison Master's Possession, increase poison attack by 100%. After receiving an attack, the enemy will be poisoned. At the same time, the enemy will obtain the effect of Life Steal. After receiving all poisoned effects, the enemy will recover the same amount of HP for themselves. The excess HP will be in the form of a life shield. Seeing these 2 buffs, the group of people was dumbfounded. Fuck, is this Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary? He is a medicine and poison master. His HP recovery is too insane. With these 2 skills, I doubt anyone can kill him. After receiving an attack, he can recover 80% of his HP. He can even poison his opponent. If his opponent is poisoned, he can recover his own HP. His total HP recovery is even higher than the damage received. That's too perverted. This is only his passive buff. Have you forgotten the debuff on Solipsistic? He has been poisoned by Forbidden Poisonous Land and Poison Outbreak. This is also a poison effect. That means that Lingguo Duzuan is already stealing life. It's true. Lingguo Duzuan already has a life shield. Damn, can anyone really defeat this kind of boss? I don't believe it. Others were shocked, while Lu Chen's friends were left with only despair at this time. Oh my god, there's no way out. I suspect that even if Green Wolf encountered this guy, he would only be killed. Boss, what should we do? There's no way to fight this, it's too difficult. There's really no way out. Boss. Sigh, Lu Chen looked coldly at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. To be honest, the two skills that this guy used at the beginning were already enough to make him feel pressured. The damage of the medic was not good. However, the consensus view in Jiutian was that the medic was definitely the hardest to kill among all the major professions. If the damage was not enough, he could exhaust you to death. The weakness of the medic was perfectly compensated by the Poison Master. The Poison Master was one of the most difficult professions to deal with. Other than the Puppet Master, even the tank would not want to face a Poison Master. Therefore, some people chose to practice both medicine and poison. A powerful medicine master who practiced both medicine and poison was definitely a nightmare for all professions. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was obviously the strongest medicine master and poison master in the second heaven. He even had the ability to go to the third heaven. According to Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary himself, he did not go to the third heaven because he was pursuing the ultimate goal. Taking a deep breath, Lu Chen's blood began to boil. Lu Yi, I really have to thank you for finding me such an interesting opponent. I'm very excited. Excited? Ha ha ha, I'll make you regret entering this door later. Let's start with the appetizer. Berserk Demon King. Green Wolf also had this skill. Seeing this skill, the hearts of the Earth players tightened. Both players' pain increased by 300%. However, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary had an additional buff. Absolute Medicine Body, Loss of Pain Nerves. Damn, it can be like this. This Berserk Demon King is a godly skill tailor-made for him. In the battlefield, there was a short silence for a few seconds. Suddenly, the two super strong players moved at the same time as if they had agreed beforehand. 7 stars chasing moon. Flash shot. A figure like a ghost shot out an arrow instantly. Star poison body. Instant poison. The other turned into a green mist and instantly pierced through the solipsistic who was moving at high speed. Chapter 438. Idiot, your attacks will only speed up your death. The Master of Spiritual Martial Apothecary's star-grade poison body was obviously stronger than the Immortal Slaughtering Poisoner. The Immortal Slaughtering Poisoner's star-grade poison body was used for concealment, while the Master of Spiritual Martial Apothecary directly combined the star-grade poison body with attack. The speed of instant poison exceeded the reaction time of a human. It was almost impossible to dodge. Lu Chen was also unsurprisingly hit. Lu Chen was also shocked. How could this guy capture his whereabouts so easily and hit him in one move? His eyesight and reaction time were far above his own. With one instant poison, Lu Chen was already poisoned. -1,500,000, poisoned. Debuff, poisoned, lasts for 5 seconds. Everyone was stunned by the damage. For a normal player, one instant poison was enough to kill them 10 times. Not to mention there was a poison effect after 10 seconds. At the same time, Lu Chen's 4 arrows all hit their targets. -930,000, double critical hit, -1,740,000, triple critical hit, -1,690,000, triple critical hit, -950,000, double critical hit. Lu Chen's damage exploded again. Triple critical hit and double critical hit, dealing 5 million damage to the opponent in 4 attacks. The opponent's health points were revealed. 500 million. After playing Jiutian for so long, players already knew that there were 2 different types of Jiutian bosses. One type was the type of bosses that had extremely long health points, easily 1 or 2 billion. Although this type of boss had a lot of health points, it was actually not that scary. They were generally beast-type bosses, with high damage and health points, but low intelligence. The other type of boss was even scarier. They were generally humanoid bosses. Their health points were not that high, but their reaction time was almost the same as human players. This type of boss was far more terrifying than beast-type bosses. The immortal slaughtering poisoner's mere 88 million health points was already difficult to surpass, let alone his master's 500 million health points. It was simply an astronomical figure. 5 million damage was equivalent to 100% of the damage, but the master of spiritual martial apothecary activated Shin Nong's protection almost at the same time, instantly recovering 2 million health points. At the same time, he also had a continuous recovery status, recovering 440,000 health points per second for 5 seconds. This was still considered a small amount. The effect of the Master of Poison's protection was activated. Lu Chen was hit by the instant poison and received an initial 1.5 million poison damage. At the same time, he was poisoned and received an initial 2 million damage. After hitting Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary, Lu Chen received 3,700,000 damage from the initial poison damage. Subsequently, he received another 1,500,000 damage every second. At the same time, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary recovered another 3,700,000 HP. Coupled with the shield from the Forbidden Vicious Land. After being hit by Lu Chen, not only did Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary not lose any HP, but the durability of his life shield had also increased to 1,400,000. After that, it would increase by 1.94 million every second for 5 seconds. After hitting Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary, not only did he not lose any HP, but his life shield had also increased. On the other hand, Lu Chen's HP of 9.5 million had been reduced to 4.8 million. Lu Chen spat out a few mouthfuls of blood due to the 300% pain system. Ha ha ha, is it very depressing to fight me? You clearly dealt quite a lot of damage, yet the result is like this. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary looked at Lu Chen with great interest. Do you know what the limit is? The pinnacle of medicine was poison, and the pinnacle of poison was medicine. When poison and medicine are perfectly combined, I am immortal. You dare to touch my disciple? Very well, I want you to suffer a fate worse than death. I want you to become my voodoo slave. Witchcraft secret technique, heart-devouring voodoo. Xiao Tian was in a state of shock. This guy is not a dual cultivator of medicine and poison. He is a triple cultivator of medicine and poison. Oh my god, it's actually a secret technique. Secret techniques were independent of the technique's level. Although its power might not be as strong as a high-level technique of the same level, as long as it was a secret technique, it would definitely have its outstanding points. In addition, it was rare in the world, making it difficult to guard against. Lu Chen stared at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. To be honest, this guy was harder to deal with than he had imagined. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary had already activated the heart-devouring voodoo. A black shadow was as fast as lightning, pouncing on Lu Chen. Rejuvenation. Lu Chen healed himself first. There was no other way. Even he could not block the damage. Whether he could heal himself or not was another matter. He had to heal himself first. Low-level displacement might not be able to avoid the voodoo. Lu Chen immediately used his highest-level movement technique. Ghostly shadows. In an instant, the entire battlefield was filled with hundreds of solipsistic yans. All of them were moving quickly. For a moment, it was hard to tell which one was the real one. You want to trick me with this crappy movement technique? What a joke. However, the heart-devouring voodoo ignored all the illusions and went straight to the real Lu Chen. No, that voodoo is attracted by my poison. Lu Chen came back to his senses. Originator. At the critical moment, Lu Chen summoned the originator. As a puppet, the originator was not afraid of poison or voodoo. The voodoo entered the originator's body. A moment later, it came out of the originator and went back to Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary looked at the originator that was standing in front of Lu Chen in surprise. That thing is a puppet. The originator was not an average puppet, but it also had some of the characteristics of a puppet. Not even Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary had ever seen one like that. Unfortunately, you still can't escape. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary snorted. You're not the only one with a battle pet. 7-star poison men. Heart-devouring voodoo slaves. 8 people suddenly appeared in front of Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. Seeing these 8 figures, Zhenghua Yanran couldn't help but gasp. The heart-devouring voodoo slave was a tiger dragon. That guy had captured a tiger dragon as a heart-devouring voodoo slave. As for the other 7-star poison men, they were all in human form and were emitting different colors. Red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, purple, all of them. Clearly, they weren't trying to gather all the colors, but because they were poisonous enough. Lu Chen was even more worried. They were not in the water, so the tiger dragon could not exert its full strength. Even so, the originator would not be able to deal with the tiger dragon alone. Furball, go and help the originator. Little Furball used its thin and small body to quickly teleport to Little Yuan's side. It quickly transformed and resisted the tiger dragon goo slaves together. In the meantime, the 7-star poison men surrounded Lu Chen. 7-star poison formation. The 7 of them surrounded Lu Chen at the positions of the 7 stars. The colorful light on their bodies shone brightly as they attacked at the same time. In the formation, the 7-star poisons of different attributes quickly fused and exploded. Lu Chen found himself unable to move. The damage above his head was jumping rapidly. The numbers of different colors represented different types of poisons. The specific numbers could not be seen clearly, but his remaining 4,800,000 HP quickly emptied. -9,500,000, poison outbreak. A poison outbreak, Lu Chen was directly killed. Instakill. A real instakill. This time, it was not that Lu Chen did not try his best, but the opponent was too strong and did not give him any chance to breathe. He was instakilled. This is too strong. There's no way I can beat him. I'm already so strong, and his poison men and voodoo slaves are equally terrifying. It's over. It seems that no one will be able to pass the second heaven in the future. I heard that the solipsistic still has a life. Could it be? I heard that too, but the difference in strength is too big. Even if he has 10 lives, it won't be enough. Hey, look at those poison men. They're still releasing the 7-star poison formation. They're waiting for the solipsistic to revive. Damn, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary is not going to give the solipsistic any chance. Chapter 439. Nirvana Rebirth. Lu Chen was reborn from the flames. All negative effects were removed. Taking advantage of the instant when the negative effects were removed, Lu Chen used his body movement to try to break free from the 7-star poison array. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's face was full of disdain. It's actually Nirvana Rebirth. Then you should have 3 lives. As expected of Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary, he could tell the difference between Nirvana Rebirth and Nirvana Rebirth at a glance. Lu Chen's hidden trump card had been seen through by Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter how many lives you have. 7-star poison array, 7-star shift. The 7-star poison men quickly retreated and changed their positions. Their speed was extremely fast, almost comparable to Lu Chen's rapid shift. The 7 of them moved quickly on the field, constantly changing the range of the 7-star poison array. Dark Night Blink. Rapid shift. Lu Chen quickly avoided the 7-star poison men to avoid being sealed in the 7-star poison array again. However, the other party wasn't chasing after him. They were changing their positions. Lu Chen had to constantly avoid being caught by the other party's changes. This was many times more difficult than directly avoiding the enemy's attack. Unfortunately, although Lu Chen's reaction was fast, he didn't learn geometry well in junior high school. The other party's array pattern changed too quickly. He wasn't paying attention and was locked in the 7-star poison array for the second time. Once locked, with his little HP, he would die in an instant. A second life. The last Nirvana rebirth. It was also Lu Chen's last chance. The mountain man's eyes were almost narrowed into slits. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary is stronger than before. Has he really reached the limit? However, even if Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was incomparably strong, with the mountain man's understanding of Lu Chen. Although the solipsistic had been doing his best to respond to Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's moves, he still felt that this battle was missing something. Moments later, the mountain man found the word in his mind. Yes, it's missing spirituality. The greatest impression that solipsistic gave him was that solipsistic's understanding and application of moves were full of spirituality. He was able to fully utilize the advantages of his own moves against the enemy's moves. The same move could become even more unexpected in his hands. In this battle, the solipsistic sword was lacking in this aspect. If this continued, there was no suspense in the outcome. The mountain man glared at Lu Chen. Kid, this isn't like you. Quickly think of a way to deal with it, or you'll lose. What about that move? Where are the weapons and cultivation methods I gave you? Why aren't you using them? Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary looked at the fleeing figure with a faint smile. On the last life, the solipsistic's performance was much better than the second time. Until now, he had not been locked onto by the 7-star poison array. Of course, under the effect of the vicious Forbidden Land, his health points were still dropping rapidly. Soon, his last life would end here. Kid, you're quite good at running. Do you know what you look like in my eyes now? Master Lingwu's eyes were burning. A stray dog. Didn't you say you wanted to kill me? Weren't you arrogant? Why can you only run now? You don't even have the courage to touch me. Did Lu Yi find such a useless person like you? Ha ha ha, what reincarnation? What good and evil will be rewarded? When you're strong enough, even if I go against heaven's will, who can stop me? You want to challenge me? Never. The more Master Lingwu spoke, the more excited he became. The smile on his face became more and more cruel. Solipsistic, you're lucky today. I'll let you become the sacrifice for that move. Master Lingwu's hands formed into claws. Endless poisonous gas rushed towards his claws, forming a green vortex that turned into dark green and then black. The entire boss room was filled with black fog. It was like hell on earth. Outside Tong Tian Tower, the players here looked up at the sky. Above Tong Tian Tower, dark clouds gathered, forming a vortex. Strong winds blew all around. The Tong Tian Tower dungeon could no longer suppress Master Lingwu's terrifying strength. What is the limit of poison? I already know. Solipsistic, you should feel honored to be able to personally experience this. 7-star poison array, star poison explosion. Go back to the first layer of heaven for your father. The 7-star poison man instantly exploded and activated this attack. Hung, 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 hung. 7 explosions caused countless explosions. The entire second floor of Tong Tian Tower suddenly exploded. Countless explosions occurred on the ground, covering the entire boss room. The terrifying explosions created 10 meters of poisonous gas. The world was in chaos and the earth trembled. In the live broadcast, the people could no longer see anything. They could only see the endless poisonous gas covering the entire second floor of Tong Tian Tower. My god, this is a true full map attack. Fuck, how many people go, how many people will die? This is a heaven domain boss in purgatory mode. Is this something a human can defeat? Even if someone from the third layer of heaven came, they wouldn't be his match. It's simply invulnerable. That fellow, lone tyrant, is likely going to be blasted to smithereens. That's 300% pain threshold. He has already died twice. Now that he's going to die again, the pain he's going to endure has already surpassed what a normal person can endure. Wood Manor's Jill Air covered her mouth as two streams of tears silently fell. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was too strong. He was so strong that no one dared to challenge him. Even if that person was in front of him, he would be completely crushed and killed. Even now, Master Lin Guo was still at full health. There was no way he could make a comeback. In a certain galaxy, on a certain planet, there was an ancient and majestic building. In one of the mansions, Gui Yanran was in a daze as she looked at the live broadcast on a projector stone. Solipsistic, you won't die, right? This question already had an answer. Under this kind of attack, who wouldn't die? Only Gui Yanran wasn't willing to believe it. That person who always had a lazy expression when fighting with her, that person who stubbornly wanted to take care of the tiger dragon underwater, had actually been blown to pieces without any resistance. Lu Yi really wanted to rush into her brother's room and cry while hugging him. Brother. Lu Yi's tears couldn't stop falling. Her brother who had never been defeated had truly fallen in this battle. Perhaps everyone thought that Solipsistic had already fallen. But there was still one person. On a planet that was covered in snow all year round, a 13 to 14-year-old girl raised her hands. A ball of cold air appeared in her palms. The cold air gradually took shape and transformed into a blurry figure. A health bar appeared above the figure's head. What was surprising was that his health bar was 1. No matter what, that person wasn't dead yet. That's great, big brother. You're not dead yet. I knew you wouldn't die that easily. But, you only have 1 health left. How are you going to defeat that person? That person with such a terrifying recovery ability and 500 million health. Chapter 440. The stardust toxic explosion was still exploding crazily. Master Lin Guo laughed wildly, ha 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 ha. No one can survive from my stardust toxic explosion. No one. I'll make sure you don't even have a corpse left. Ha ha ha, so what if I deceive my master and destroy my ancestors? So what if I poison and refine millions of people? Did you see that? This is the pinnacle of poison. Everything is poison. Everything can be used by me. I can defy the heavens. What can the heavens do to me? Ha 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 ha. Master Lin Guo had gone crazy. His craziness made everyone tremble in fear. This guy is too scary. Is there anyone who can defeat him? No wonder he's the strongest grade 2 realm boss. He's already invincible. I'm not watching anymore. There's nothing to watch anymore. Give up. This guy is too crazy. There's only one way to defeat him, unless there's someone even crazier than him. However, at this moment, a voice was heard in the midst of the explosion. The voice was calm, without any sadness or joy, but it was extremely solemn. It was like a mix of voices, extremely solemn. As long as hell is not empty, I swear not to become a Buddha. Only by saving all living beings can I achieve enlightenment. If I don't go to hell, who will? Buddha saves all living beings. With a boom, a golden light instantly exploded and swept across the entire area. At this moment, all the poisonous gas was swept away by the golden light. Even the surrounding vicious forbidden land was purified. The entire world seemed to have been purified at this moment. Master Lingwu looked at this scene in disbelief. How can this be? My 7-star poison array. This is an array. How can it be cleared away? My vicious forbidden land, this is a pseudo-realm technique. How can it be purified? At this moment, countless people looked at that figure. The man who only had 1 HP left and was bleeding from all 7 orifices, but his entire body was glowing with golden light. At this moment, Lu Chen was holding the Ksitigarbha staff. His eyes were slightly closed as he stood solemnly. Buddha saves all living beings. What kind of technique is this? I've never seen solipsistic use it before. Is this a heaven's might or a heaven technique? It can actually suppress such a horrifying technique like the Stardust toxic explosion? That's not right. Buddha saves all lives looks very powerful, but it doesn't seem to have caused any damage. Buddha saves all lives only had one move, and it did not cause any damage. At first glance, it did not live up to its status as a heaven-grade cultivation technique. However, 3 statuses appeared on Lu Chen's body. 3 lives reincarnation. Every time you revive, the amount of HP lost will be added to the percentage of HP lost. At that time, Lu Chen didn't understand when he saw this state. He only figured it out when he was cultivating deep in the mountains. To put it simply, Lu Chen's 3rd life was now at the last sliver of HP. If it was in the past, he would not have lost more than 100% of his HP. This was because he would die if he lost more than 100% of his HP. After reviving, his HP would be full again, and the percentage of HP lost would be recalculated. However, under the effect of 3 lives reincarnation, Lu Chen had lost 299% of his HP. The 2nd state. Invincible Golden Body. When the user has 1 HP remaining, the user will no longer receive any damage over time. This effect is at most immune to the effects of Heaven Tier Middle Skill. However, the user will have to endure 200% pain. The 3rd state was the exclusive weapon state. Sacrificial Hell. Activate when equipped with Ksitigarbha staff. Attack action will turn into a Buddhist seal attack. Cancel action and shake back and forth. There were only 3 statuses, and none of them directly increased attack. They didn't seem very strong, but only Lu Chen knew how strong these 3 statuses were. It was simply heaven-defying. The effect of 3 lives reincarnation alone didn't have any practical significance, but it could be combined with a variety of skills to produce terrifying power. Invincible Golden Body was simply the nemesis of poison attacks and elemental attacks. Even if the user only had 1 HP left, they would still be alive. As long as they were alive, they could counterattack and escape. Sacrificial Hell was also very abnormal. The only difference between a Buddhist seal attack, a prophet spell attack, a talisman master's talisman attack, and other long-range attacks was that they had no trajectory and were extremely difficult to dodge. Simply put, this was an attack mode that was between close-range and long-range attacks. When facing a close-range attack, unless the player had to dodge or predict the position in advance, it was almost impossible to dodge. Since the Buddhist seal attack had no trajectory, it was equivalent to having the characteristics of close-range attacks. Of course, the Buddhist seal also had its own weaknesses. That was, its attack power was not as high as pure close-range attacks, and the triggering rate of all its passive abilities was reduced by half. His body was also not as good as pure close-range attacks, and he couldn't hide far away like other long-range attacks, so his ability to protect himself was insufficient. However, Sacrificial Hell was only a change in the attack mode. Lu Chen's attack power did not decrease, and he still had all his original advantages. The only effect was that the triggering rate of Lu Chen's passive abilities was reduced by 50%. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary narrowed his eyes slightly until he saw Lu Chen's HP. He suddenly felt relieved. Solipsistic, you can't be thinking that you can turn the tables with just a little HP left, right? Even if you don't suffer continuous damage, you'll die if I touch you. Moreover, not only is my HP full, but I also have more than 10 million health shields. Tell me, what's the use of you surviving? Oh, I understand. You must be thinking that if you don't use it now, you won't have the chance to use it in the future. Lu Chen looked at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary calmly. You said, extreme, just now. Very good. Do you know what extreme is? Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary sneered. Why? Do you know better than me? You're a dying man. Why are you talking about extreme with me? Are you worthy? Lu Chen's face did not change. Instead, he smiled calmly. The last battle of the second heaven. Fine, I'll tell you what extreme is. Dragon's blood boil. When the skill was activated, Lu Chen's HP instantly became 0. Everyone who was watching the battle almost dropped their jaws. 0 HP. What the hell is this? Why didn't he die? This doesn't make sense. Can that Buddha crossing all lives have an immortal body? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Who can explain this 0 HP to me? Even those who were familiar with Lu Chen might not know why Lu Chen was left with 0 HP. But the people in the mountains were very clear. Dragon's blood boil would deduct 80% of the current HP. 1 point of HP was 80%. Lu Chen's HP should be 0. 2 HP. The system directly ignored it. You're really a lunatic. You're really pursuing the extreme. Only 0. 2 HP left. When it came to pursuing the extreme, that guy was really crazier than Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. Alright, at least you're not dead. Those who care about you will probably have a heart attack a few times if they watch your battle. Extreme was like this. After Dragon's blood boil, Lu Chen's damage increased by 80%. But this was not the main point. The scariest part was the combination of 3 lives reincarnation and madness. Attack increased by 1199. 2%, attack speed increased by 1199. 2%, skill cooldown reduced by 100%. Skill cooldown was actually reduced by 299. 8%. But the cooldown could not be overflowed. It was just a 100% reduction, in other words, there was no cooldown. With 2 skills stacked, Lu Chen was already very overpowered. But this was not the end. 3 Devil Transformation. Lu Chen tore open the human skin. The demon that had been waiting for a long time finally appeared. Overall, it was domineering, but the pair of furry fox ears and fox tail were really eye-catching. Lu Chen shook his head. Louis, I really need you. The 3 Devil Transformation was already the last transformation of the 3 Devil Transformation. After half a year of training, it finally had the chance to appear. The demon opened his bloodthirsty mouth. His green eyes overflowed uncontrollably. He smiled and looked at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. I heard. Your HP is very good. Chapter 441. The 3 Devil Transformations increased all attacks by 1000%. Powerful demon gods would no longer be punished by heaven's punishment, but the duration was increased to 30 seconds. The cooldown was 24 hours. Perhaps Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was right about one thing. When you had the ability to defy the heavens, you could even avoid heaven's punishment. Unfortunately, sometimes the punishment did not come from the heavens, but from humans or demons. Just like Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary, he was facing a super demon whose attack was increased by 200 times. What did 200 times mean? Lu Chen's physical attack was now 360,000. After doubling, his normal attack had reached 72 million. Unfortunately, this number was not visible to others, especially Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. He only saw Lu Chen's HP, which was so dark that it could not be any darker. You're about to die, yet you're still so arrogant. I don't believe that I can't kill you. Lu Chen smiled. You can try. All the best. Lu Chen was actually cheering for Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. The group of people was speechless. All right. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary squinted his eyes. Then, his eyes suddenly widened. Poison Master's power, refresh. 7-star poison formation, star poison explosion. This guy could actually refresh the star poison explosion again. Moreover, he had forcefully activated the star poison explosion when he had lost the 7-star poison man. In an instant, the star poison explosion attacked again. With such a poison explosion, as long as it touched the solipsistic, he would definitely die. Lu Chen snorted. I think you're at your wit's end. Ghostly shadows, ghostly shadow descent. In an instant, the solipsistic disappeared from the spot. In the next second, he had appeared in an illusion beside Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. 3000 body flicker slash. After the 3000 body flicker slash was activated, it would be in an invincible state. At this moment, only this move could fight against the star poison explosion. However, one move was enough. Leaving behind an illusion, Lu Chen's figure turned into a red and golden shadow. He instantly activated 11 body flicker slashes on Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. 1 body flicker slash, along with a 5-hit combo. 11 body flicker slashes, 55 combo. Unfortunately, it was destined that he could not display all 55 combo attacks. The first attack of 55 combo. -14 000 50% damage reduction, 23 million shield absorption. When this number appeared, the entire galaxy shook. Countless people maintained the same expression. Their eyes were bulging, their mouths were agape, their jaws dropped to the ground, their expressions were stiff, and their brains short-circuited. Break, 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 10 million. Someone's lips were trembling. After a long while, he finally squeezed out the word break. Normal attack. 14 million. Motherfucker, this, what kind of monster is this? No, it's not 14 million. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's life shield absorbed 23 million, 37 million, and then 50% damage reduction. So, it's 70 million. Oh my god. What kind of demon is this guy? Perhaps the only one who wasn't satisfied with this attack was Lu Chen. He had 70 million plus physical attack, but now, he was only able to deal 14 million damage. That was too bad. At the same time, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary instantly recovered 5,600,000 HP. At the same time, he also received a continuous HP recovery effect. However, this was only the first attack of the 55 consecutive hits. What came next was the main event. -110 million, double critical hit, -35 million, -170 million, triple critical hit, -100 million, double critical hit, -32 million, a series of unimaginable numbers floated out. Up to 100 million. Oh my god. Impossible, it's impossible to deal such high damage. How did he do it? Motherfucker, oh my god, that guy is going against the heavens. The Earth player's mentality had exploded. Fuck, what kind of damage is this? Is this mad god? Can't that guy be human? He wasn't this strong the last time. What did he do in the past 6 months? Up to 100 million damage at level 2. That guy can't be described as strong anymore. He's a madman, a pervert. A boy recalled that Mad God had once given him a colorful gold gem. After that, many people spoke ill of him for killing Earth players. However, in the heart of the child, he still believed that Mad God was not such a person. Because of this, some of his classmates mocked him, saying that he had been kneeling for too long, saying that he did not even have a stand after receiving benefits. However, he still remembered the kind smile on Mad God's face when he threw the colorful gold gem to him. "Brother Mad God, good job. I knew you wouldn't admit defeat so easily." The boy's eyes were slightly red as he watched the live broadcast. "I will be like you and become the strongest." Although Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's health points were rapidly recovering, Lu Chen's attacks were too terrifying. Health points. Under the extreme attack, it was like a joke. The only use was to let Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary take a few more hits, completely unable to save him. In less than a second, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's health points of 500 million with full health points disappeared. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary, who was known as the strongest level 2 Sky Domain boss, who was known as an invincible super boss, had his health points disappear. Another instant kill. In the blink of an eye, Lu Chen had killed the Sky Domain boss with an instant kill. Especially the players from Earth, who had seen how Mad God killed Heavenly Demon Venerable with their own eyes, watching this battle again, their hearts were filled with shock. What the fuck, a Sky Domain boss was instantly killed by that guy. Is there still justice, is there still law? Lone Tyrant, Heaven Domain boss expert in insta-killing. These Heaven Domain bosses are probably going crazy right now. Do you think I don't care about my reputation anymore? I'll broadcast this live to the entire galaxy. Why can't you just fight properly? Sky Domain boss, solipsistic, can't you afford to play with him? I used to think that Mad God wasn't that crazy, but now, sorry, I was wrong. I've never seen anyone more crazy than him in my life. No matter what Mad God's character is like, I have to say that this guy is worthy of the name War God. I, Sai, really can't hate him. Instead, I feel so good. That man is from Earth. Mad God tortured me thousands of times, but I treated Mad God like my first love. Sai, first love is so painful. After a boss was killed, it would forcefully retain 1 HP. It was the same for Demon Supremacy Tong Tian and Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. At this moment, an interesting scene had appeared. Master Spiritual Martial, who only had 1 HP remaining, had lost to Lone Tyrant, who only had 0 HP remaining. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary collapsed on the ground, spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. However, he couldn't care less about this. He only looked at the demon in front of him in fear. You. Impossible. You can't defeat me. I clearly took 2 of your lives, you clearly only have a little HP left. Impossible. Lu Chen looked at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary on the ground indifferently and didn't say anything. There was no need to say anything now. No matter how impossible it was now in front of him. It was impossible not to believe it. Finally, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary accepted this reality and was extremely depressed. After a long time, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary raised his head and looked at Lu Chen. He said weakly, "So, from the beginning, you deliberately let me take 2 of your lives." Lu Chen removed his demon skin. He didn't know why, but when he looked at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary, he felt pity for him. Perhaps it was because they had something in common. Chapter 442. Lu Chen spoke. Your HP regeneration is not a problem for me. After all, you can only recover 40% of your HP instantly. It's not as high as my attack. As long as I attack quickly, you won't be able to keep up with my attacks no matter how fast your HP regeneration is. I don't have to worry about the poisonous Forbidden Land and other poison effects. I have Buddha's salvation. If necessary, I can activate it at the first life. The only thing that gives me a headache is your poison damage. If my attack is not high enough, I have to attack continuously to prevent you from recovering HP. At the same time, I'll be poisoned continuously. Every time I attack, I'll be poisoned. If I want to hit you with 500 million HP, I'll be poisoned by you with 500 million HP. My HP is obviously not enough to complete the kill. So, I only have one chance. One chance to kill you instantly. This attack has to be enough to kill you instantly. At the same time, the poison damage that can kill me can be offset by my spirit pet. Considering that you might have other tricks up your sleeve, I've decided to activate Buddha's salvation at the third life to kill you instantly. I'll cooperate with you at the first 2 lives. First, I'll let you lower your guard. Second, I want to see what tricks you have up your sleeve. In fact, I can dodge your attacks. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary looked at Lu Chen in shock. It turned out that before the battle began, this guy had already come up with a plan in his mind. He had already planned to kill him instantly. At that moment, the last bit of unwillingness in Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's heart gradually dissipated after Lu Chen's explanation. This guy was scarier than he had imagined. It was not just his insane attack power. The most important thing was his calmness and steadiness. I can't believe that you can still be so calm while fighting with me. I have to admire you, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary said helplessly. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary said helplessly, so, you have already decided the outcome of this battle from the very beginning. Lu Chen looked down at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary on the ground. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary shook his head dejectedly. I can't believe I've lost. I thought I've reached the limit. I thought I'm invincible within the second heaven. Ha 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 ha, the one who punishes me is not the heavens. It's you. It wasn't me. Lu Chen said. He opened the mission panel, and the sanctimonious mission already indicated that he could submit it. He tried tapping it, and a woman in a fluttering green dress appeared beside the 2 of them. Lu Yi. There was no reward for this mission. Back then, Lu Chen had casually accepted it. Of course, at that time, his understanding of Jiutian was not as deep as it was now. He had only accepted it as an ordinary mission. But now, Lu Chen was no longer the same as when he was in the first heaven. Perhaps the things that happened in the 9 heavens were all true. No matter what, Lu Chen was still very happy to see Lu Yi. Beauty, your mission is complete. I'll leave this person to you. Lu Yi looked at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary on the ground with red eyes. Fortunately, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was on the verge of death. Lu Yi held back her grief and anger. She turned around and knelt before Lu Chen. Thank you, benefactor. Lu Yi said with a trembling voice. Lu Chen frowned and went forward to help Lu Yi up. Why are you kneeling? What era are we in? If you really want to thank me, just give me your body. Lu Yi was stunned. Give him her body. She looked at Lu Chen in surprise. It seemed like this request was more serious than kneeling down to thank him. Benefactor, I'm no longer human. I'm afraid I can't give you my body. Lu Chen laughed. Why are you so nervous? It's just a joke. There were no living people in the Ghost Valley. Humans and ghosts were different. Moreover, they were in a game. Of course, giving her body was just a joke. He did not expect Lu Yi to take it seriously. Moreover, he still had to ask Lu Yi for help later. Lu Yi heaved a sigh of relief. She turned around and looked at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. You also have a day like this. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary looked at Lu Yi without any fear. Don't you regret it? Lu Yi stared at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. My father treated you so well. The people in the valley treated you so well. But what did you do to them? Are you still human? Regret? Ha ha ha, no, I never regret it. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary laughed wildly. My goal is not to stay in a place like Divine Herbalist Valley forever. I want more. I want to become the strongest person. Only then can I establish myself in the third heaven. Only then can I change my fate. No, to be precise, I want to change everyone's fate. Lu Yi looked at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary angrily. Lu Chen noticed that other than hatred in Lu Yi's eyes, there seemed to be something else. I never regret it. There's only one thing. It's a pity. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary suddenly said. I haven't reached the true limit. I don't have the chance to fight in the third heaven. Incurable. Lu Yi angrily spat out these 4 words. Ha ha ha, I've already had 10,000 poisons in my body. How can there be any medicine that can save me? Do it. Take revenge for the people in the valley. Lu Yi's eyes were filled with tears. I'll ask you one last question. Lu Chen and Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary both looked at Lu Yi. Why is there a place called Divine Herbalist Valley in the second heaven? Suddenly, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was stunned. As a heaven domain boss, he ruled the second heaven domain. Naturally, he had the right to name a map. Behind the arena, north of the immortal Trace Peak, there was a hidden paradise called Divine Herbalist Valley. When Lu Chen first arrived there, he was curious why it was called Divine Herbalist Valley. Lu Chen clearly remembered that there was an old man in Divine Herbalist Valley who took care of the herb fields all day. He had also obtained the little furball there. Why would such a beautiful place be called Divine Herbalist Valley? This question was like a fatal steel needle that pierced into Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's sealed heart. Why is that place called Divine Herbalist Valley? Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary repeated Lu Yi's question as if he was asking himself. He even became a goose slave and took care of the herb fields every day. Just like that person who treated him like his own. Master. Why is it called Divine Herbalist Valley? Why is it called Divine Herbalist Valley? The steel needle repeatedly pierced Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's heart. Finally, it defeated this madman who pursued strength by any means necessary. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary actually began to cry. Master, I don't want to kill you. Those villagers, I don't want to kill you. But, if I'm not strong enough, how can I fight in the third heaven? If I'm not strong enough, how can I take revenge? Lu Yi finally heard what she wanted to hear the most. Perhaps Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's repentance would make Lu Yi feel better than his death. Taking out the medicine cauldron, Lu Yi waved her hand and Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was sucked into the medicine cauldron. End it, I'll send you back to Divine Herbalist Valley. Hey! Wait! Lu Chen became anxious. Big sister, you can't be reckless. Lu Yi looked at Lu Chen in astonishment. Benefactor, why are you doing this? Big sister, he's a heaven domain boss. He drops equipment. If you take it away like this, what am I going to take? Lu Chen almost collapsed. The items dropped by this guy should be at least heaven rank. Lu Chen didn't expect to get a lot of them, but at least one of them. Be it equipment or martial arts, these were all his capital to explore the third layer of heaven. Benefactor. After you accept the mission, he'll become your mission boss. He won't drop any equipment. Lu Chen almost vomited blood out of the screen. This. It can't be. I've suffered a huge loss from this mission. Benefactor, I'm really sorry. I thought you knew. Lu Chen almost cried. What the hell did he know? If he knew earlier, he would not have accepted this mission. Furthermore, he did not know that Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was a heaven domain boss in the second heaven. Moreover, it was a heaven domain boss in the purgatory difficulty. Fuck. Benefactor, don't be anxious. My wish has already been fulfilled. If Benefactor doesn't mind, Yi is willing to follow Benefactor. Lu Chen, who was on the verge of collapse, suddenly recovered. Louis followed him. That also means that the medicine cauldron also followed him. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.